subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Synopsis. Your two pairs of purple pupils seem to be somewhat different, and you may wake up with Tensei Eyes or Samsara Eyes. When will you open your eyes? Look at luck. Hey. Yui Samsara Eye and Hanamura's Tensei Eye. Both eyes are on you alone. You are now equivalent to a real demigod. It seems a bit interesting. Chapter 1 Prologue. Bump. A blasting talisman slid across the baby's cheek and blasted beside the person in front of him. The person in front of him was overturned by the blasting wind and waves, protecting the baby beside him. He held the baby in his arms from behind, and his whole body slammed into the tree, making a painful sound. Konoha is coming. I must hold on. Cough. Cough. He coughed up a mouthful of blood, jumped up from the ground, jumped on the tree again, and ran forward at a rapid pace, and the four masked ninjas behind him quickly caught up. He carried the baby behind him again, made a quick seal with his hands, then turned and jumped back. Art Fire Escape Fireball. The huge fireball sprayed out towards the four masked people behind, and the four masked people hurriedly avoided. Taking advantage of this gap, the person carrying the baby continued to run forward at a high speed. Through a dense forest, I finally saw the gate of Konoha. Kudai, a great river of earth. In the end, a masked man behind him was imprinted, and the ground under the man's feet turned into mud, like a river, and rushed him towards the four masked men. Oops, he scolded secretly, and almost fell unsteadily to the ground. Lei Jun, go! A thunder light appeared on his hand, directly reaching into the soil under his feet. The soil stopped. He jumped out of the soil his feet had become because of his own attack. He still endured the pain and ran towards Konoha's gate. Can't catch up. The four masked men stopped in the woods and looked at the man who ran to the gate. The four looked at each other and said, "Retreat," one of them said, and the four disappeared here in an instant. Who is it? The man carried the baby to the gate of Konoha, and the four endured in front of them, looking like a chunin. Help! When a man saw them, he couldn't hold it any longer and fell to the ground. The baby behind looked at the door of Konoha. His slightly opened eyes did not move. He never cried from beginning to end. End of this chapter. Chapter 2, adopted by Watergate. In other words, is that person dead? A yellow-haired joinin at this time was in front of the bed at Konoha Hospital, looking at the sleeping baby on the bed. Yes, a chunin next to him nodded. When he collapsed at the door, his life was dying, and he almost got here by willpower. Have you checked your identity? Huang Fa Shangnan said. It's a secret family on the border of the country of fire. The solo family is good at using wind and thunder ninjutsu. The whole family was wiped out yesterday. It's unknown who did it. The man who died was Insuo, the servant of the Luo family. This baby is the only survivor, just born. The Insuo family? Huang Fa Hunin frowned, having never heard of this family. Because it's a hidden family, I don't usually make public appearances. I can tell that this name was also obtained from Hokage-sama, and it belongs to a confidential file. It seems to be a big trouble. Huang Fazhang smiled bitterly. As long as it involves confidential matters, it is not that simple. Wow. The door of the ward was opened. Naruto-sama. Chunin hurriedly greeted the person who opened the door. Yes, the visitor was a gray-haired old man. Although he looked quite old, he was still full of energy. Lord Naruto, why are you free to come here? Huang Fa Shangren also greeted him. In Konoha village, it is not necessary for Naruto to do everything by himself, but still came. When it comes to the Insuo family, I have to come and see. Hokage nodded and said to him that he was Konoha's third Hokage, Sarutobi Hizen. This Insuo family. What is the origin? You go out first. Sandai said to Chunin beside him. Yes. He agreed and went out. Now there are only 3 generations left, along with the yellow-haired joinin and the baby in the room. Minato, this world is so big, and the powerful families back then weren't just the Senju family and the Uchiha family. This is a long time ago. In addition to the Senju family and the Uchiha family, there's also a powerful family. They can compete with the Senju family and the Uchiha family without relying on any bloodline boundaries. Is it the Insolo family? Minato Namikaze was also taken aback. It turns out that there is such a powerful race. Sanai nodded. But this clan, unwilling to fight and snatch. So they hid, and few people can know about them. These materials are also passed down from generation to generation by the Kyansha clan and the Uchiha clan. If it wasn't for Hokage, I'm afraid it's hard to know. How could such a powerful clan be exterminated? Who did it? Minato looked at the baby on the bed, puzzled. The third generation shook his head. I heard that the person who led this clan was named in Zoro Hen, a ninja with fable ability. He once predicted the establishment of Konoha, the harmony between the Uchiha clan and the Senju clan, and also there is a battle between Madara Uchiha and the first Hokage. Prediction, prophecy? Minato was even more surprised. In his knowledge, only the one in Yama Mountain could predict, and this Insolo Hen could not only predict but also be so detailed, so precise. Anyway, this matter has to be investigated. Before that, this baby will be handed over to you, Minato. The third generation glanced at the baby and then looked at Minato again solemnly. Huh? What do you mean? Minato was stunned for a moment. This baby will be handed over to you to raise in the future. 3 generations still looked at Minato and said without changing his face, No, Kushina and I just got married and she just got pregnant. Let me bring back a baby. She won't suspect that it's your illegitimate child, and you have to prepare for taking over as the 4th Hokage. Sandai patted Minato on the shoulder, then left the ward with a smile, leaving Minato with a messy face. It's really big trouble. Minato looked at the baby on the bed, patted his forehead, and picked him up. Helpless Minato picked up the baby on the hospital bed and left Konoha Hospital. Minato was walking on the road when the baby in his arms also opened his eyes and looked at the handsome man in front of him. It's really a headache. I just opened my eyes, I experienced life and death, and I became the adopted son of Minato. The baby thought in Minato. Namikaze Minato had a headache for him, and he also had a headache for Namikaze Minato. In fact, he woke up when the 3rd generation was talking to Minato just now, and when he heard about Insolo Hen, he was very sure that Insolo Hen must also be a transmigrator. There is no Insolo family in Naruto. If it is a normal person, how can it be possible to establish a family that can fight against the inheritors of Indra and Azura? Fortunately, I have studied in Japan for 3 years and can understand Japanese. That Insolo Hen must know the plot of Naruto very well, so that he could have a smooth sailing in the Warring States period. That era was not too far from now. Insolo Hen was also his great-grandfather, and this baby was the son of the Insolo family. This is a deep sigh in the baby's heart. It seemed that he felt the movement of the baby in his arms. Minato Namikaze looked down at the baby, smiled at him, and reached out to tease the baby. Because it's a baby's body now, he can also happily hold Minato's fingers and smile. This smile makes Minato like him even more. When you get home, Kushina will definitely like you very much. Minato looked at the baby and smiled. Of course she will like the baby. The baby said silently in his heart, There is no woman who will not be cute by the baby. Soon Minato brought the baby to his door. Although he was not married yet, he and Kushina had been living together for a long time. After opening the door, Kushina's voice came from inside. You're back. I'm back, Minato also shouted, and at the same time, footsteps were heard in the room, and it was Kushina who walked to the door to meet Minato. Minato took off his shoes and was about to walk into the house. The next moment his eyes met. Kushina's smiling face solidified directly on his face. Namafang Minato also showed an embarrassed smile. Kushina's expression. Not good. Kushina still kept smiling at the child in Minato's hands, but this beautiful smile looked so dangerous. Listen to my explanation. Kushina. Minato kept his embarrassed smile. Just when Minato was about to speak, the baby in his arms snorted twice and stretched out his little paw towards Kushina. End of this chapter. Chapter 3, Kakashi and Rin. Baby couldn't stand Minato's embarrassing appearance anymore, so he wanted to help Minato. so he used a cute attack. But it doesn't seem to work. Where did such a cute baby come from? I want to listen to you to explain it. Kushina smiled and squeezed his fist. Well, don't be angry. Minato scratched his head and quickly explained the baby's origin. So it is. Kushina put down her fist and let Minato walk in. Seeing that it was finally okay, the baby launched a cute attack on Kushina again, smiled and hummed at her, and stretched out his hands to hug. Because the vocal cords have not yet developed, he cannot speak even if he can speak. It's so cute. Kushina was finally turned into a cute baby by the baby. She forced it out of Minato's hand, hugged her in her arms, and rubbed the baby's face with her face. The baby smelled Kushina's body fragrance and finally showed the first real smile after coming to this world. His smile also made Kushina like him even more. What a cute baby, Kushina said as she carried the baby into the house, walked to the sofa in the living room, and sat down, with Minato behind. We will raise him from now on, whether it should be raised as a younger brother or as a son. Minato said, we just got married. If we can't have another son. But as a younger brother, the age gap is quite large. Minato kept saying, if you're a son, you have to have a name. How about a super flash lap dance? What the did you name? Is that for people? Kushina said dissatisfied. Then what do you want to call it? I think it's better to inherit their family's surname. Insolo. Let's call him In-seong. Kushina hesitated and said, In-seong, do you have any special meaning? Minato said, after thinking, In has the meaning of integrity, and I mean to make him a man of integrity. That's it. Then call In-seong. Minato laughed, and In-seong also laughed. I see that you like this name very much, In-seong. Jushina stretched out her finger and touched In-seong's cheek and said, In-seong snorted twice and nodded. What a smart kid, In-seong. Seeing In-seong like this, Jukusenai and Minato were also very happy. Tell Kakashi and Lin to come to the house for dinner, and let them meet In-seong as well. Kushina said to Minato, by the way, In-seong hasn't eaten anything since he was born. Minato said at this time. In-seong's face couldn't smile anymore. He suddenly felt the hunger in his stomach because he was so excited about this world that he had just arrived in transmigration, and he suddenly ignored the fact that he didn't eat. Then what are you waiting for? Go buy milk powder. Jukusenai had no milk for In-seong to eat, so she had to ask Minato to buy milk powder. Okay, I'll go right now. Minato quickly put on his clothes and shoes and ran out. Seeing Minato's panicked appearance, Kushina showed a sweet smile at home and suddenly felt a very happy feeling. It took Kakashi and Lin an afternoon to buy In-seong a baby carriage, milk powder bottle, and so on, but it cost him a lot of money. After feeding In-seong and drinking milk powder, Jushina happily went to cook. So cute. Minato-sensei. Lin ran to the stroller and looked at In-seong and said, I didn't expect you all to have children, teacher. Kakashi joked aside. No, it's an orphan whom I took care of for 3 generations. Because the Insolo family is a secret relationship, Minato just said that In-seong was an orphan. I'm going to help sister Jukusenai cook. Lin took a last look at In-seong and walked to the kitchen. What a beautiful girl. I took a close look at Lin just now and found that this girl is really beautiful. No wonder Obito is willing to destroy the world for her. Take good care of him when he grows up, Kakashi. Minato patted Kaka on the shoulder and said, What? Can't you take care of him yourself? Kakashi rolled his eyes and said, One more person gives more strength. Okay, I know. I will take care of him. Kakashi nodded helplessly and said, In-seong stretched out his paw towards Kakashi. Oh, it looks like he likes you very much. Minato laughed. Really? Kakashi lowered his head and looked at In-seong. In-seong stretched out his claws to grab his mask, trying to pull the mask off, but now his strength is too small, and as a newborn baby, he was struggling to keep himself from sleeping all the time. Want to take off the mask? Kakashi stood up so that In-seong couldn't touch it. In-seong snorted twice, revealing an aggrieved expression. I really can't help you. Kakashi couldn't stand seeing his expression. He reached out and took off his mask, let In-seong take a look, and then took it back. It can be said that he is very fond of In-seong. After a while, Jixinai and Lin finished the meal, and a few people went to eat. No one played with Yin Xiang, and he finally couldn't bear to fall asleep. Rin, did you take on a mission to Hidden Mist Village recently? During the meal, Minato and Rin chatted. Well, it shouldn't be very dangerous to go to a hidden mission in Kirien. Lin also nodded and said, you still have to be more careful. Wuyin is not stable. Now that the war has just ended, Wuyin is still on alert. Well, I know. Lin nodded and said, where's Kakashi? After Kakashi finished speaking, Minato looked at Kakashi again. There are other tasks, but they are secret. Kakashi can only say the same. All right, don't talk about those things while eating. Kushina knocked on the table and said, yeah, after all, the child in Sister Kushina's belly is about to be born. Have you thought of a name? Lin looked at Kushina and said, not yet. In fact, it's good to have Yin Xiang now. In the future, the two of them will be able to take care of each other. Jushina said with a smile, looking at the quiet crib. Yin Xiang seems to be different from other babies. He is so well-behaved, he doesn't cry or make trouble, and he's very smart. Lin said, like an adult. Kakashi also sat aside and quickly put on his mask. You said that. It seems so. Minato and Kushina looked at each other and said, end of this chapter. Chapter 4 Minato succeeds Hokage. But he's still a baby no matter what. Joshinai came to Yin Xiang's side and looked at Yin Xiang, who was sleeping soundly. Motherhood overflowed again, and he kissed Yin Xiang gently on the cheek. Sleeping Yin Xiang stretched out his small hand and scratched his cheek. Yin Xiang is really likable, Kushina said and returned to her seat. Speaking of which, 3 days later will be the day when Minato-sensei succeeds the 4th Hokage. Lin squinted her eyes and smiled. Unfortunately, I can't see it anymore. I can't see it either. Kakashi also said regretfully. Don't be so sorry. It's not a good thing. There will be more headaches in the future. Minato said with a smile. After a few people finished eating, Kushina and Kakashi cleared the table together because Lin wanted to play with Yin Xiang and accidentally woke Yin Xiang, who was sleeping. Although Yin Xiang was woken up, he didn't cry like other babies, but looked at Lin and laughed. Huh. If you look closely, Yin Xiang's eyes are lavender, so pretty. Lin looked close to Yin Xiang's eyes and was happy when Yin Xiang kissed her on the cheek. Huh. Lin was startled. She didn't expect Yin Xiang to do this, and she was very happy after the kiss. Oh, Xiao Yin Xiang has never even kissed me. It seems that he likes Lin very much, Jixinai said with some jealousy, seeing this scene in the kitchen. What? I haven't been kissed by anyone yet, Lin said with a blushing face. She was actually embarrassed by a little baby. Obito will be off if he finds out, Kakashi said at this time. The atmosphere became dull, and Lin didn't blush anymore. Really? After a while, Kushina gave Kakashi a hammer. What are you talking about at this time? Yin Xiang clapped his little hands and nodded, seemingly happy to see Kakashi being beaten. This little guy. Kakashi wrinkled the corners of his eyes, looking at Yin Xiang's happy appearance. After that, Minato sent Kakashi and Lin away. After Kushina finished washing the dishes, she changed Yin Xiang's clothes and then pushed Yin Xiang out with the stroller. This is just the time for lunch. Along the way, I met a lot of people Yin Xiang knew. They were all greeting and teasing Yin Xiang. Of course, Yin Xiang was also happy to please them. Among them were Mate Kai and others, and he at the same time as Minato, Hyuga Hizu, Nara Shikahiza, and these people. As for the other 12 Zyokiang of Konoha, so far only Niji, Tian, and Xiaoli were born, the same age as Yin Xiang. This turn allows everyone in Konoha village to know that Minato and Kushina have an adopted son named Yin Xiang, who is named the 4th generation Hokage boy. After Kind Shina bought some small things for the baby that Minato didn't notice, he took Yin Xiang home. To say that Minato was careless, it was not. He bought double copies of everything except the stroller and crib. This was for Naruto in the future, and Naruto was about to be born. Watergate didn't come back until evening. What are you doing? Kushina, of course, asked immediately. 3 generations asked me to go to his trip and gave me some precautions, and inevitably he sighed a few words. Minato scratched his head and smiled. That's it. This old man is really, and he treats us like children. I can't say that either. The three generations are also thinking of me and told me something about In Xiang. Really? What did he say? Hearing about In Xiang, Kushina also asked quickly. I still haven't been able to find out who moved the hand, but all his clansmen were killed in their sleep, and there was no time to resist. They have been peaceful for too long. Minato didn't smile anymore and said seriously. Really? Jixinai was also lost, looking at In Xiang, who was amusing himself in the crib. But fortunately, he was still young and could not understand these words. Actually, after hearing this, In Xiang's heart was not fluctuated, and he was even a little scared. What if these people came to kill him in the future? But it doesn't matter. We will protect In Xiang in the future. Minato comforted Kushina. Don't be afraid of shit. What can you protect me? You will die in a few months, and then I will have nothing to do. In Xiang said in his heart. By the time the Night of the Nine Tails came, he was only less than a year old, so even a small baby would be powerless to save them, and the Nine Tails could blow him to death even with a single breath. The smile on In Xiang's face also slowly disappeared, and she narrowed her eyes. Jiu-Shinai thought it was In Xiang's sleepiness, so she picked up In Xiang and shook him and coaxed him to sleep. Falling asleep, this baby is physically too easily sleepy. I slept until noon the next day, and I was hungry when we came together. Fortunately, Jiu-Shina stayed by In Xiang's side, and when he saw In Xiang woke up, he gave In Xiang a beautiful smile. After that, he received a basin of water, wiped In Xiang's face and hands with a towel, and then fed In Xiang to drink milk. In Xiang is full after half a bottle of milk, but with such a big belly, he can't eat much. Until the day Minato succeeded Hokage, In Xiang spent it like this. On the day Minato succeeded Hokage, the villagers of the whole village gathered downstairs in the Hokage building. Shinai stood behind Minato with In Xiang in her arms, watching the fourth-generation Hokage fluttering on Minato's royal robe. In Xiang also had some yearning in his heart. Not long after Minato succeeded Hokage, a big event happened. Rin committed suicide on Kakashi's Rachel. Kakashi was also very painful for this incident. Killing Rin, Kakashi almost collapsed. At the suggestion of Minato, Kakashi joined Umbu, and his mission was to protect Kushina in secret. Because Kushina is a nine-tailed man, she is very vulnerable during pregnancy and needs protection. Minato is busy with official business and often can't go home. This task is naturally handed over to Kakashi. Kakashi has never entered the door, just silently guarding the roof, and will appear immediately if there is any change. Shinai's belly is getting bigger day by day, and In Xiang's boring baby period has passed day by day. Every day, besides sleeping, he eats. Because Jixina's belly is getting bigger and bigger day by day, it's very inconvenient to take care of In Xiang. So I invited a nurse for In Xiang who can take care of Jixina while taking care of In Xiang. End of this chapter. Chapter 5, The Masked Man appears. Of course, In Xiang also found out that Lin has not been here for a long time. I am afraid she is dead, but fortunately In Xiang and Lin do not have a deep friendship. Otherwise, it will inevitably be sad. Kakashi would occasionally take off his mask at the window and show his face to look at Xiao In Xiang. The corners of his mouth under the mask seemed to smile forcefully, so In Xiang was more sure of Lin's death. Xiao In Xiang, drink milk. The nurse came over with a bottle, and In Xiang lay on the bed and took the bottle and drank it without him. It's so good. The nurse patted In Xiang's head and said, he has never seen such an obedient child, and In Xiang, who is only 5 months old, can already speak some simple conversations, which is simply a genius. Where's Mom? In Xiang asked his nurse. Madam, she is reading the newspaper in the living room. Your brother will be born soon. The nurse also replied. In Xiang nodded. Okay, I'll call you after drinking. In Xiang said in a broken sentence, which was also to hide his fluent Japanese. Okay. The nanny nodded with a smile and went out of the room. In Xiang doesn't need her to care at all here, and Jiu Shinai can take care of herself over there. As a nanny, he usually cooks, washes dishes, and cleans. Hygiene is easy. I still remember the first time In Xiang called Mom and Dad, but he made Minato and Kushina happy. Such an older child is so sensible and he will definitely be a great person in the future. When Minato came back from get off work occasionally, he would also tell In Seong something about ninjutsu. In Seong pretended to understand everything and wrote it down. When no one was looking at him, he secretly used his small paws practice printing. In a blink of an eye, 5 months have passed. During this period, Jiraiya also came to see In Seong, and even named Kushina's child, Naruto. Until this day, this night finally came. Kushina, who was going to give birth that day, was taken out of the village by a woman, and the matter of Kushina giving birth was a secret, so she was so cautious. In a hole outside the village, there are still nodules around, and there are also 4 umbu guarding outside. Minato personally suppressed the sealed 9 tails inside, and it was the first time he saw Kushina screaming in pain. Look, finally, in a long cry, a baby's cry came out, and Kushina was not shouting anymore, gasping for breath, listening to Naruto's cry. Kushina's tears fell. Those were happy tears. Looking at Naruto in the hands of the mother, Minato was stunned for a while, and when he looked at his real biological son, he shed tears of excitement. After Kushina took a look at Naruto, Minato was about to completely suppress the 9 tails, but at this time, the mother was killed, and a masked man appeared in front of them holding Naruto. In these cases, all In Seong knew was that Joshinai was taken away by the mother, and he and his nurse stayed at home. The 1-year-old In Seong stood in front of the window, looking out with a very dignified expression, frightened. The nurse next to me didn't dare to speak. In Seong knew that something must happen tonight. In Seong looked at his hand. What could he do with this body? Can't do anything. He could only be here, waiting for the Watergate couple to die. Bump! There was a loud noise, and the small house in an open space at the back of the house suddenly exploded. In Seong hurried over after hearing it. Little master! Little master! The nurse shouted from behind, but In Seong ignored him at all, ran out the door, and saw Minato fell to the ground with Naruto in his arms. Just now the masked man threw Naruto up and was about to stab him to death with Kou. Minato saved Naruto with a telekinesis, but the blanket that wrapped Naruto was still covered with a detonating talisman. In desperation, Minato used the flying thunder god, came to the small house, and threw away the blanket and blew up the small house. Dag! In Seong ran to the water gate step by step, then gasped for breath. In Seong! Minato squatted down, not expecting to see In Seong here. In Seong, why did you come here? I hope. In Seong took 2 quick breaths. I felt something happen tonight, and I heard an explosion again, so I rushed over. You're injured, Dad. In Seong reached out and pulled out the wooden stick stuck in Minato's leg, which had been stuck due to the explosion. In Seong. Minato patted In Seong's head. Take care of my brother. I'll be back soon. Minato said, using the technique of flying thunder gods again, flew home, put Naruto on the bed, and returned with 2 scrolls left. The masked man's target is Kushina, and he must rush back as soon as possible. Just as Minato was about to leave, In Seong pulled on Minato's sleeve. Be sure to come back, Dad. Minato was stunned for a moment, looking at In Seong's sad expression. Don't worry, I will definitely come back, Minato said, and returned to the place just now with the technique of flying thunder god. In Seong held the 2 scrolls in his hand and looked at the 2 scrolls, the technique of flying thunder god and the spiral pill. On the masked man's side, Kushina has been tied to the pillar and the 9 tails have been drawn. A dark red chakra gushed out from Kushina's abdomen, forming a fox head. Xian Nai got out of his stomach and yelled at the sky, but his eyes had turned into scribbles. Just when the 9 tails were about to attack the weak Kushina, Minato arrived, disappeared here holding Kushina, and came to In Seong again. Mom! Looking at the weak Kushina, In Seong quickly ran over and held Kushina's hand. In Seong, I'm back. Although Joshinai was very weak, she still said to In Seong. Joshinai was carried to the bed by Minato, during which Joshinai was holding In Seong's hand tightly. Mom, is Mom dying? In Seong was holding Juxanai's hand by the bed, and Juxanai was holding In Seong's hand while hugging Naruto. How could that be? I'm fine. Kushina turned around and touched In Seong's head, showing a reluctant smile. Mom is lying to me. The tailed beast will die if it breaks away from the body. In Xiang said that the little tears also flowed down. Jiushinai and Minato looked at each other in surprise. Jiushinai hurriedly went to help In to wipe away tears. How do you know this, In Xiang? Juxinai said to In Xiang very gently. Dad will die with my mother in order to seal the tailed beast. I knew it. In Xiang panicked and remembered that the 3 generations in Minato had said that Insalo Hen, who could predict, would know. Use this foreknowledge technique to fool them. Wow. Minato put on the royal robe of his 4th Hokage, came over and patted In Xiang's head, folded it with Jiushina's hand. You can't tell anyone what you foresee, In Xiang. But Dad, In Xiang looked back at Minato, who was already wearing the royal robe. Even if you knew you would die, would you still go? Minato nodded. This is my responsibility as the 4th Hokage. Minato, thank you. Be careful along the way. Kushina turned around and hugged Naruto and said to Minato, I'll be right back. Minato said very firmly, and then the figure disappeared in front of In Xiang's eyes. End of this chapter. Chapter 6 Nine Tails appears. Spirituality. The masked man fell in the middle of Konoha and directly used the psychic technique to get out of the 9 tails. Boom! 9 tails appeared on the ground and crushed the surrounding houses. Roar! 9 tails yelled at the sky and began to destroy the house. Konoha also acted quickly. All the ninjas were dispatched to cover the retreat of the non-combatants. Mom! In Xiang held Jiushinai's hand, trembling all over, and Jiushinai naturally heard the voice outside. Don't be afraid, In Xiang. Jiushinai turned around and stretched out his hands to think she wanted to hold In Xiang up, but she had no strength at all. So In Xiang climbed into the bed by himself. This funny action also made Jiushina smile a little. In Xiang climbed to the other side of Naruto, and Jiushina hugged In Xiang and Naruto. Don't be afraid. With Minato, everything will pass. Kushina comforted the 2 children. Although she said so, she was also very flustered in her heart. Here, Minato has already fought with the masked man. The location is at the cabin where Minato came with Naruto at the beginning, and Minato also decided that he must get rid of the masked man here. The 9 tails in the village chose to believe in the 3rd generation, and believed that the 3rd generation could suppress the 9 tails. But the ability of the masked man is too weird. Minato's attack will make him pass through, and he can become stronger. However, the name of Minato's genius is not only blown out. He soon understands his method and uses Flying Thunder God. The 2nd stage, with the spiral pill, slammed directly on his back. This time, the masked man was smashed into the ground. After the smoke passed, the masked man's arm fell off, but it was indeed not a real arm like white pulp. Minato didn't give him a chance to speak, so he used Fei Lation again. And when he came to him, he slapped the masked man on the chest and used the contract seal to release the contract between him and 9 tails. In this way, 9 tails also is not his property. In Xiang and Jiushina also heard the movement behind him. In Xiang stood up from the bed and jumped down, ready to find Minato. But at this moment, Minato appeared in front of them again, picked up Kushina and Naruto, and was about to leave with Flying Thunder God. But Minato didn't plan to take In Xiang. Fortunately, In Xiang was quick-witted and grabbed it. Watergate's clothes. A family of 4 appeared together in front of Kwa, who was transferred by Minato to the outside of the village. In Xiang, why are you following? Minato immediately panicked when he saw In Xiang. I want to be with you, In Xiang said firmly. But when he really saw the 9 tails in front of him, his whole body was shaking. How violent and terrifying it was. Wow! Several chakra chains appeared behind Kushina's back, trapping Kyubi and directly causing him to lose his ability to move. Wow! At this time, Naruto was also awakened. I woke you up. Kushina gasped. I'm sorry. Naruto, Kushina. Seeing Kushina using this chain, Minato looked at Kushina nervously. Just hold the 9 tails in check. I will die too. So, the resurrection period of the 9 tails. Kushina breathed heavily and said line by line, I will use only my save the chakra and help you. This is the only way. Gene Sina showed a big smile. Always come. Thank you for everything you have done for me. Naruto seemed to feel the sad atmosphere, and even his crying became slow and soft. Kushina, you made me the fourth Hokage. You made me your husband, and you made me the father of this child. But Minato said. His expression became sad. In Xiang stepped forward and held the back of Minato's hand. Dad? Minato, don't show such a sad expression. Kushina still smiled. I am very happy to have you, and In Xiang who love me. And today is the child's birthday. Kushina looked at Naruto and said, more importantly, if I'm still alive, what else can I imagine other than imagining the future happy life of our family of four? Minato listened to Kushina's words. Tears rolled down his eyes. Although he is the fourth Hokage, it is his duty to protect the people of the village. But in addition, he is also a husband and a father of 2 children. I only have one last wish. I really want to meet the grown-up In Xiang and Naruto. Kushina looked at the 2 children and said, Kushina, you don't need to die with the 9 tails. Minato wiped away her tears. Your only remaining chakra. I will let you see Naruto, and I will seal all your remaining chakra to the on Naruto, combine it with the gossip seal, and I'll take care of the 9 tails. I am not a human pillar. I can only be sealed with ghouls. But that sealing technique will make the artist. Kushina didn't say anything else. This sealing technique would kill the artist. There is another point. The 9 tails sealed on me are only half. Such a powerful force cannot be suppressed by physical means, nor can it be realized from a strategic point of view. The seal of the 9 tails has your participation. If not before the resurrection of the 9 tails, the existence of the human pillar force causes the balance of the tailed beast to collapse. If you use the ghoul taban, you can seal up what I and the other half of the 9 tails have. So the other half of the 9 tails. Minato remembered the son of the prophecy that Jiraiya had said, that is Naruto. Seal it to Naruto. Seal it with gossip. Minato said that. And Kushina was also taken aback. I know what you want to say, but the world change in the mouth of teacher Jiraiya and the disaster that follows the change. I have confirmed 2 things today. The masked man who attacked you will definitely bring blood and blood. Then the person who stopped him is this kid. Minato looked at Naruto and said, this kid, whom teacher Jiraiya values, will open up the future as a human pillar. I don't know why. I firmly believe this. Dad, the other half of the 9 tails can be sealed in my body. In Xiang said aside. In Xiang, you can predict the art, and you will live very hard in the future. Minato looked at In Xiang and said, the art I gave you, you must study hard. The 9 tails cannot be sealed in your body. He will affect to yours. Dad, however, if you seal the 9 tails in Naruto's body, the people in the village will think that Naruto is the 9 tails and will dislike him. Minato and Kushina were stunned at the same time. Does In Xiang want to take care of this for his younger brother? What good boy. Jiyoshi also understood what In Xiang meant after hearing it, and touched In Xiang's head. It's okay, In Xiang. Naruto can definitely do it. Don't you believe him? Minato also said, I believe him. He can. In Xiang said without hesitation. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. The ghouls are sealed. That's good. Minato said, smiled at In Xiang, and put Naruto on the ground. I didn't expect In Xiang to remember things at such a young age. He is still so sensible. How much will you have to bear in the future? Kanai looked at In Xiang, tears streaming down. Naruto still doesn't remember them. That's a good thing for them, but In Xiang. When I was so young, I understood everything. I started to bear so much at such a young age, and I don't know how much I will bear in the future. Mom, don't cry. I will protect my brother. I will never let him be bullied by others. In Xiang stepped forward to wipe away the tears for Jio-X and I. Jio-X and I hugged In Xiang in her arms. That's the kind of you that I'm most reluctant to bear. Shinai hugged In Xiang. Tears could not stop falling. Although it was not her biological child, In Xiang was her first child after all. In the future, you must take care of yourself. Eat on time, sleep on time, let go if you want to play, don't restrain yourself. But also take care of your brother. You are such a sensible child, but you are responsible for things like prophecy. You must not. Discovered by others. Kushina said while crying. Mom! In Xiang was overwhelmed by Kushina's embrace. Not knowing what to do, he hugged Kushina's hand and clenched his small fist. The ghouls are sealed. On Minato's side, the seal had already begun, and he directly used the ghouls to seal them off, and the of death appeared behind Minato. Trust these two children. They are our sons, Minato said, looking at Kushina. That seal. Could it be, the ghouls have been sealed? At some point, Sandai had already arrived under a tree not far away and saw this scene. After the ghouls are sealed, I will seal your chakra on Naruto. I hope you can help him when he is trying to control the Nine Tails as Hiroshima. They are our sons, and that's why I don't want them to carry such a heavy responsibility. Kushina shouted to Minato. And why do you use ghouls to seal them up? So that I can see Naruto when I grow up. Just for such a short time. Why do you have to die for this? Kushina said this, and in Xiangsai understood that sealing the Nine Tails was not enough to kill Minato, and Minato would die, just so that Kushina could see Naruto when he grew up. This is for love. I hope you can accompany Naruto and In Xiang and protect him when he grows up. Why? For the sake of the balance of the tailed beast, for the sake of the village, and for the sake of the country, do you have to make Naruto a victim? I have to make you a sacrifice for me. A victim. Jioshinai shouted. The blood from his mouth sprayed on In Xiang, who was in his arms. Abandoning the country, abandoning the village, is the same as abandoning the child. You who have perished your motherland should have a deep understanding of this. What a cruel life will be forced to live for people who have lost their country. Not to mention that our family is all ninjas. Also, I can't beat you if I'm alive, Minato said. Kushina was stunned for a moment. Although your time as a mother is very short, the things you teach to your two children are beyond my reach. It's your duty to be a mother, not just for you, but for Naruto as well. It is also a father's duty to be willing to die for the sake of the child. Minato crouched down and hugged Naruto, and the family of four squatted face to face. In Xiang was standing. Minato and Kushina's eyes were extremely firm, and the three generations of Hokage outside tried to come to help, but because of Kushina's chakra chains, they couldn't get in at all. Seal. Minato stood up and used the ghoul seal on the Nine Tails. The Nine Tails size was directly reduced by half, and half of the Nine Tails were sealed in Minato's body. Next is the Gossip Seal, which seals the Nine Tails on Naruto. Minato seals the seal, and a stone platform appears in the open space. A circle of candles surrounds the stone platform. It is the altar for the ceremony. On the altar, Nine Tails also looked at Minato with resentment. The altar for the ceremony? You want to seal me up again? And it's still sealed on that kid. Cough. At this moment, Kushina couldn't hold it anymore and lost her strength for a while. Mom. Looking at Kushina, In Xiang was also very worried. Kushina. Minato also noticed the situation here and hurried over. It's now. Jiowei roared, stretched out his claws, and stabbed Naruto. Juxanai suddenly pushed In Xiang away, and In Xiang rolled to the side. Minato blocked Kushina's back, and the two were directly pierced by Kyuubi's claws and slid all the way to Naruto. I said it all. It's my father's responsibility, Minato said with difficulty. If that's the case, mother should fulfill this obligation. Kushina also said, Dad. Mom. In Xiang stood up from the ground, and when he saw this scene, he shouted at them. 3 generations. 3 generations. Save them. In Xiang ran to the 3 generations and beat the barrier desperately. But it didn't work at all. Lord Sandai. In Xiang shouted to Sandai. Sandai's face was also very bad. He also wanted to come in, but he couldn't get in at all. In Xiang kept shouting until he was exhausted and fainted on the ground. The child's body does not allow him to support like this. The husband and wife quarreled. It was the first time I lost to you. I understand how serious you are. Thank you, Kushina, Minato said, and at the same time also formed a seal and channeled a toad. 9 tails. Toad was startled when he came out and saw Minato, who was pierced. I said 4 generations. What are you doing? Toadin, I'll give you the sealed key, and then ask Jiraiya-sensei to keep it, Minato said to Toadin. So that's it. This guy, Minato, intends to save the village by making the child a man-in-law. Hearing what Minato said, the three generations also understood what Minato was going to do. Totoro also took the key and left. This way I can feel at ease, Minato said, and at the same time the of death behind him began to move, and he licked his knife. Kushina, we don't have much time. It's almost time to launch the gossip seal. I also want to seal chakra on Naruto as much as possible, and I'm about to separate. If you want to say anything to him, just take advantage of now. Minato said to Kushina, Naruto, don't be picky eaters. Eat your fill every day. Grow up strong. Remember to take a hot bath every day. And don't stay up late. Make sure you get enough sleep. In addition, make friends. It doesn't matter if you don't have many friends. How many a trusted partner is enough? Into this chapter. Chapter 8, the account of the three generations. You have to live a good life with your brother. Although my mother is not very good at me, you have to study hard and master ninjutsu well. However, everyone has something they're not good at. Class teachers and seniors. There is one more important thing about the three bands of ninjutsu. First of all, you can't borrow money at will. Remember to save the rewards for tasks. You can't drink alcohol until you are 20 years old. Drinking too much is bad for your health. I know this one too well. In a word, there are only men and women in this world. Sooner or later you will be interested in women. Just worry about not being entangled by strange women and to find excellent women like Mother. Speaking of this, Kushina Kazumin also smiled. Also, you have to be careful about the three bands. You have to be careful with teacher Jiraiya and other things. Your brother In Seong will teach you, Naruto. In the future, whether you are sad or painful, you will encounter a lot. Be at your own pace. Have a dream in your heart, then make it a reality, and be confident in yourself. Kanai said, tears falling, I still have a lot. I really have a lot to tell you. I want to live with you. I love you. I am Sora Minato. I'm the only one who said cheer up. No, it doesn't matter. Minato shook his head. Naruto, Dad, want to say, just like your nagging mother. After Minato finished speaking, he closed his eyes and used the gossip seal at the end. The other side of the nine tails entered Naruto's body, and the Minato couple's bodies also fell to the ground. The barrier was lifted, and Sandai Hokage and the others could come in. Sandai took the lead in picking up In Seong on the ground, and the others ran to the Minato couple and Naruto. Dama, In Seong, who fainted, already regarded Minato and Kushina as his biological parents. 3 days later, In Seong, you have to keep things a secret about Naruto. The third generation said to In Seong, who was sitting on the sofa in front of him. In Seong kept his head down and looked at the ground. His eyes were red, and it wasn't just how long he cried. Father and mother have done so much for the village, but you want me to conceal that Naruto is their biological son. As their child, is it really appropriate for you to let me do this? In Seong didn't even look at the three generations, so he lowered his head and said, in order to check the balance between the tailed beasts and prevent wars between villages, it is necessary to announce the identity of Naruto nine-tailed people Julie. With your intelligence, it should be understandable. The three generations now do not treat In Seong as a child at all. Because I understand better. Now everyone in the village knows that Naruto is the pillar force of the Nine Tails. After the Nine Tails attacked the village, the people in the village hated the Nine Tails, and they all vented on Naruto. On the body, Naruto will be rejected by the villagers since he was a child. Why can't you tell him the real truth? In Seong raised his head and yelled at Sandai. You have to listen carefully, In Seong. Sandai took a heavy puff of cigarette and looked at In Seong. You also heard that Naruto is the legendary son of prophecy. If the village announces his identity and allows Naruto to grow up in a greenhouse, then Naruto will not be able to take on important tasks. I do this also to experience Naruto. Heaven will give a great responsibility to the people of this country. Do they have to work their hearts and minds first? After listening to In Seong, he also understood a little. Oh, Sandai was stunned for a moment. That's a good statement. Since you understand, you must cooperate and never see Naruto. Impossible. Unexpectedly, Sandai made such a request, and it was absolutely impossible for In Seong to agree. You can't see him unless you have to. No, not only will I not see Naruto, but I will also go to the Ninja Academy with Naruto in the same class. In Xiang's small body jumped up from the sofa and looked at the three generations without any fear. Then I'll have to lock you up. Danzang's voice came from behind In Xiang, and then the door behind In Xiang opened, and it turned out that Danzang walked in. In Xiang looked back. This person looked very threatening. Danzo said, reaching out to grab In Xiang. Wait a minute. Sandai Hokage spoke at this time. Danzo's hand stopped in the air, and the two looked at each other. I know, it's fine if I don't see it. In Xiang also understood what was going on and said immediately, huh. Seeing this, Danzo didn't have much to say, turned around and left. Why did you suddenly compromise? The three generations looked at In Xiang with a smile. Lord Danzo must also know the affairs of the Insolo family. He wants to arrest me, control me, and let me predict for him. You also want to control me, let me predict for you. Oh, for Konoha, let me predict. Konoha takes precautions before it happens. Rather than fall into the hands of Danzo-sama, it is better to compromise like you. 3 generations of cigarettes can't go on. Staring blankly at the child in front of him. He is so smart. I didn't expect you to be so smart. 3 generations said to In Xiang. What do you want to arrange for me next? In Xiang said, looking at Sandai. Go back, go home. It will be arranged when the time comes. What about Naruto, Konoha Orphanage? I see. After In Xiang finished speaking, he turned around and left. This child, could it be said that it is already predictable? The 3rd generation looked at In Xiang's back and thought to himself, he has never seen Danzo before, so how could he know him? In Xiang, who left Naruto's office, did not go home directly, but came to the tomb of the Minato couple and knelt in front of the tomb. Dad, Mom, I'm sorry. In Xiang wiped the tombstone with his hand. I can't see Naruto, and I can't take good care of him for you. We will meet again in the future, and I will definitely apologize to you in person. In Xiang, go back quickly. Kakashi's voice sounded behind In Xiang's back, and he kept his hand on In Xiang's small shoulder. Brother Kakashi. In Xiang turned back and saw Kakashi wearing a mask. With a mask and a mask, isn't your face stuffy? Kakashi didn't speak, just reached out and took off the mask. Big brother Kakashi. In Xiang ran up and hugged Kakashi, but he could only hug his thighs. What should I do? Big brother Kakashi, I'm an orphan again. I'll take care of you in the future. Kakashi put his hand on In Xiang's head. Even though Kakashi was very young, he now volunteered to take care of In Xiang. Into this chapter, Chapter 9 Wind Thunder, Ninjutsu Cultivation Physique. Kakashi is also miserable. First, his father died, and he finally had 2 partners. First, Obito died, and then personally killed Lin. Not long after, the teacher and the wife died again, and it was not easy to stay. The next 2 children, one is still a man, Julie. Not to mention the genius Kakashi. Even the Kakashi can't stand it. Now have you changed from protecting my mother to protecting me? Well, the 3 generations told me that I was secretly protecting you. Kakashi nodded and did not deny it. Let's go back. In Xiang's small hand grabbed Kakashi's big hand and said, Kakashi nodded, took the mask back, and pulled In Xiang away. The 2 were walking on the street. People on the street were greeting In Xiang, and they had to force In Xiang to eat delicious and fun food. Everyone knew that In Xiang was the child of Minato, and now Minato is fighting to seal the 9 tails. In Xiang became the son of a hero in the village and the orphan of a hero. Everyone already liked In Xiang very much, but now because of Minato, the people in the village took care of In Xiang even more. Looking at the things that Kakashi was carrying, he sighed secretly. If Naruto, it is also treated like this. Can it grow up? Okay, if it's Naruto. In Xiang thought to himself. In Xiang returned home, and Kakashi gave everything to the wet nurse. Although the Minato couple was gone, In Xiang could still afford the salary. In Xiang also didn't want to keep the wet nurse at home, but he had this figure. It's too small, and it's inconvenient to cook or anything, so I can only keep her. 12 years have passed in an instant. In Xiang has grown into a handsome young man with black hair and a black attire. Unlike other people's open-toed shoes, In Xiang is wearing black shoes, is moving fast in the jungle. Brush. A black light flashed, and a handful of kunai was pulled from the tree. It was exactly the same as Minato's kunai, and the imprint was the same, and the person who pulled out the kunai was In Xiang. 10 years later, still not as fast as Dad. In Xiang pulled out kunai and shook his head. It's time to go to class, In Xiang. Kakashi's figure appeared under In Xiang and said to In Xiang. At this time, Kakashi had taken off his mask and was no longer a member of Umbu. He just passed by and saw In Xiang Loa and called him. The shadow clone has already gone for me. This flying thunder technique is 2 chakra. My chakra is enough for me to move 5 times. I'm too tired. I have to restore the chakra. In Xiang meditated and sat down. It's amazing, I learned to fly Thor and shadow clone so quickly. Kakashi laughed below. But it's more than that. If it took so many years to learn these 2 ninjutsu, then the name of a genius on my back is not a joke. In Xiang said boldly. In addition to the shadow clone, he also learned a spiral pill, not even a sea-level ninjutsu. It's not that I don't want to learn it, but that there are no other ninjutsu scrolls in this family at all. Some are just scrolls of sealing techniques, but these extremely complicated sealing techniques, no one instructs Fei Yin, and Fei Yin can't understand them at all. So now, 12-year-old In Xiang only has these 3 ninjutsu and simple 3 body art and physical art. Although it is very enviable to say that the art of flying thunder and spiral pill, but in this world above, In Xiang, who only has these 2 techniques, is not enough to see. You will be graduating soon, so you could do some Jinin tasks. The task of Jinin is not all those trivial things. Let's leave it to the shadow clone. Kakashi brother, do you have the scrolls of Lei Dun and Feng Dun? Let me learn. We're all at home. I'll go get it for you now. Kakashi nodded and left, and soon brought 2 scrolls to In Xiang, which recorded Feng Dun and Lei Dun. There are only some C-level ninjutsu in here. I wrote down all B-level ninjutsu with a writing wheel. If you need it, I will go back and write it on the scroll, and I will bring it to you tomorrow. Okay, thank you, big brother. In Xiang jumped down from the tree and took the scroll in Kakashi's hand. Big brother, you are busy. Nothing has happened recently. Kakashi nodded. How is Naruto? In Xiang asked Kakashi. It's still the same. It's a headache for the 3rd generation to be fooling around outside every day. Kakashi didn't know Naruto's identity until he started to lead the 7th class. But now Kakashi knows in advance because of In Xiang's affairs the Naruto thing. But it doesn't make much difference. Did he wear the new clothes I gave him? You are really bothered to wear it. You prepare new clothes for him every year, and the size is just right. You also prepare gifts for him every year on his birthday. Although he doesn't know who gave it, you are still happy. Accepted, Kakashi said with a smile. I can't go to see him. I have to do something for him, or I'm really sorry for my parents. In Xiang also smiled and said. In Xiang opened the scroll and watched as he spoke. When you can both go out to do the task, you will inevitably meet outside. I'm just waiting for that day. Feng Dun. Big breakthrough, In Xiang said. With a seal on his hand, a hurricane spewed out of the air, blowing the entire forest to one side, and countless leaves from the tree fell. Kakashi was speechless. Did you just read it once? Did you learn a big breakthrough? I feel that these wind escape ninjutsu are easy to come by. After reading it once, you will feel that kind of feeling. It is probably a physical problem. In Xiang smiled. It is no wonder that the Solo family can become one of the 3 major families by relying on wind and thunder ninjutsu. 1. The penetration speed of this wind and thunder ninjutsu is really fast. Then look at this. Kakashi said, electric light emitting directly from his hand. Chidori. Chidori. In Xiang's eyes lit up, looked closer, then stretched out his right hand. The chakra in his hand began to condense, and then flashed an electric light. Chidori, I think you are not a genius, but a ghost. Kakashi looked at the electric light in In Xiang's hand, and the electric light in his hand slowly disappeared. Bump! In Xiang slapped Chidori on the tree in front of him, and the tree collapsed. It's amazing. In Xiang looked at his right hand with excitement on his face. With such a physique that he knew at a glance, he could almost catch up with the riding wheel eye. It seems that I can teach you all my wind and thunder ninjutsu, and I have not failed the teacher. Kakashi was also very happy. End of this chapter, Chapter 10, In Xiang and Naruto. By the way, Your nanny was also fired by you. Now the only person who knows your strength is me, right? I think you should graduate from Endure School with your strength now. Kakashi and In Xiang sat together in the tree next. The two of them talked. I want to wait until Naruto graduates to graduate with him, so that I can be with him every day. Even if Naruto arrives at the normal graduation time, it will be a year later than you, and you will be taking the graduation exam soon. At the same time, they're the genius of the Hyuga family, Hyuga Niji, and a strong physique named Rock Lee. Of course, I know all this. My shadow avatar is still doing well outside. It always comes first. Niji and Rock Lee are not my opponents. Several times the teacher wants me to graduate early. Well, I'm also waiting for Naruto to wait until now. When the graduation exam starts, you won't be able to graduate if you want to. Kakashi laughed. I can repeat the class. Don't make trouble. If you want to repeat your grades based on your grades, can the third generation not know your thoughts? You can graduate with peace of mind, but it's only a year away. There are still many opportunities to meet. I want to see Naruto. I go to school earlier than him and leave school earlier than him, but I have never seen him. In classroom 301, you go. Kakashi stood up and said. After In Xiang nodded, Kakashi disappeared in front of In Xiang's eyes. After Kakashi left, In Xiang picked up the black jacket on the ground, dressed in black, and approached the academy quickly, and soon reached the roof of the academy, stepping on the wall all the way to the classroom window of 301, but he never did. Find Naruto. This kid shouldn't run out again. In Xiang frowned, then disappeared on the wall, moving back and forth on the roof of Konoha, and finally saw Naruto on Hokage Rock. This guy was at Minato's writing and drawing on the face. Stinky boy, In Xiang pouted, then jumped to Naruto's side. Hey! Naruto was startled by In Xiang, almost fell off the elevator, and was dragged back by In Xiang. Why do you doodle on Hokage Rock? In Xiang said, looking at Naruto. You are, eh? I know. You are the son of the fourth Hokage. Naruto squinted at In Xiang, and suddenly realized that Naruto often walks down the street. And where does In Xiang go? They were all very popular, and Naruto naturally noticed In Xiang. Hearing Naruto's words, In Xiang was not feeling very well. He was obviously the child of Minato. But when In Xiang saw Naruto's clothes, he frowned. It was the yellow clothes he had been wearing all the time. Didn't Brother Kakashi say that he was wearing the new clothes he gave him? Why are you still wearing this old clothes? In Xiang asked, looking at Naruto. Naruto held a paint bucket in his left hand and a brush in his right, looking at his colorful clothes. I only wear this dress when I paint, although I don't know who send me new clothes every year. But I can't get those clothes dirty, hee. Naruto held the brush. He rubbed his nose with his hands. Yeah, it's the same as my mother. In Xiang listened with a smile on his face. Listen, Naruto, don't scribble on the Hokage Rock, especially the fourth Hokage. Why? Don't think you are the son of the fourth Hokage, and you can point fingers at me. Naruto said nonchalantly. Stinky boy. In Xiang couldn't hold back and punched Naruto in the head, knocking over the paint bucket and everything. Go back with me immediately if I see you writing nonsense on Hokage Rock again. Doodle, be careful I'm rude to you. In Xiang tied Naruto as he spoke. Shadow clone technique. In Jian forked out a shadow clone to clean Hokage Rock, which can be regarded as a big brother to wipe Naruto's ass. Then In Xiang took Naruto back to the Ninja Academy. You study hard for me, do you hear me? After In Xiang finished speaking, he opened the door and threw Naruto in, then closed the door. What? What arrogance! When I become Hokage, I won't spare you. Naruto, who was tied up, shouted to the door, arching on the ground. Naruto! Irika shouted from behind Naruto. Teacher Irika. Naruto slowly turned his head and saw Irika with a dark face. Take me a good lesson. Irika yelled. Naruto answered loudly. In Xiang smiled at the door. Naruto, you will become Hokage. Then In Xiang returned to his classroom, knocked on the door, and the shadow clone in the classroom disappeared. And then In Xiang appeared. Door. Although the teacher was puzzled, he still let In Xiang come in. After all, In Xiang has excellent grades and a special status. Even if he is absent from class, the teacher will not say anything. When did Bo Feng In Xiang go out? Hyuga frowned and looked at In Seong. Although In Seong is still surnamed Insolo, this matter has also been kept secret. Everyone knows that In Seong is a child of Minato, so everyone naturally thinks that his surname is Bo Fong, and he is also called by his surname. In Seong went straight to his seat in the middle of the last row. Every time he walked past, he was the focus of the entire classroom. In Seong still looked very good, and the girls in the classroom were also looking at In Seong. Jo, Tian Tian. In Seong walked back to his seat. His table mate was Tian Tian. What did you go out? Why didn't I see it? Tian Tian asked In Seong in a low voice. Just go out for a while, don't care. In Seong said with a smile, although the shadow avatar has always come to class, but after the shadow avatar disappears, all the experiences will enter the main body's brain, so In Seong can still adapt. In class, we are going to take the graduation exam tomorrow, and then we will be assigned to our leading teacher, and I don't know who I will be with. Tian Tian lay on the table, his eyes still turning to Hyuga Niji from time to time. You like Niji, Hyuga? In Seong crawled beside Tian Tian. His head was very close, and his mouth whispered in Tian Tian's ear. Huh. Tian Tian blushed, one because In Seong said she liked Niji, and the other because In Seong was too close to him. Who? Who said I don't like him? Tian Tian denied it. If you like it, but if you don't admit it, it's really boring. In Seong pouted, resting his chin on his hand and looking at the knowledge on the blackboard. It's all very simple knowledge, and In Seong has learned it by himself. End of this chapter. Chapter 11, Ichiraku Ramen. Okay, let's go here today. After coming to the classroom tomorrow, we will start the graduation test. Those who pass the test will be able to get a forehead guard and become a ninja. Tomorrow's test topic is clone technique, so go back and prepare well. Come on, let's go. The teacher left the classroom after saying that. Graduating tomorrow, the students in the classroom did not leave immediately. They were all cheering. Everyone was reminiscing about the old days, asking for warmth, how to go out, and take care of each other in the future. In Seong, this is what I wrote for you. A girl blushed and ran in front of In Seong, who just stood up and was about to leave the classroom. Ah, it's a love letter, In Seong. Tian Tian supported his forehead with his wrist and said. In Seong didn't say anything, just accepted the letter from the girl, smiled, and left. The envelope is very thick, and it seems that it contains more than one person's letter. Hey, I didn't expect that I would receive love letters one day. Walking on the road, In Seong looked at the letter in his hand, then jumped onto the roof and quickly went back home. After opening these letters, it turns out that there is more than one person in it. Except Tian Tian, almost every girl in the class has letters in it. In Seong smiled, put the letters away, and put them on the cabinet aside. Bump! With a touch, the shadow clone in the Hokage rock disappeared, and the Hokage rock was cleaned up. Abito, although it was Ninetales who killed my parents, it's you who released Ninetales. It would be great if I didn't have the memory of my past life. Then I could take revenge on you without the pressure in my heart. But it happened that you were whitewashed again later, and I'm also very entangled now. In Seong made tea for himself in the corridor outside the house and said as he drank it, it's useless to think about this now. Even if I want to kill him, I don't have the strength. In Seong shook his head mockingly. It was evening. In Seong sat outside for a while, ate something, and went to sleep. The next day, In Seong easily passed the test and successfully got the forehead protection. In Seong put his forehead guard on his waist and walked to Yao Ramen. Not only Naruto likes to eat, In Seong also likes to eat. Yao's ramen skills are really amazing. Yo, In Seong is here. Is he still the same? Uncle Yao said as soon as he saw In Seong. Well, the same way. In Seong smiled and nodded. Okay. Uncle Yao replied and went to cook the noodles. Uncle Yao, today I want to eat barbecue pork ramen. Naruto's voice came from a distance, and then Naruto rushed into the store. Yo, Naruto is here, sit down. In this Konoha village, apart from In Seong and others, only Uncle Yao is willing to treat Naruto well. So why is Uncle Yao being so kind to Naruto? Because Kushina also likes to eat ramen and often brings In Seong to eat it. Naruto's name will inevitably be mentioned when eating, so Naruto's true identity, Uncle Yao understands in his heart. Naruto, it's class time now. In Xiang sat next to Naruto and said to Naruto, "Ah, you. Naruto was startled when he saw In Xiang, jumped up from the stool, pointed at In Xiang. "Why are you here? What's the matter? Can't I be here?" In Xiang looked at Naruto with a smile. "I taught you a lesson yesterday. Have you forgotten it today?" I, I know. I'll go back now," Naruto said and turned around to run, but after turning around, In Xiang grabbed the neck of his shirt. Naruto, this kid, really put on the new clothes he gave him. Clothes. This is more spirited than the clothes he wore before. "What are you doing? Let go of me." Naruto struggled in In Xiang's hands. "Sit down and eat. I'm here to treat you, and after dinner, give me back to class." In Xiang lifted Naruto up and let him sit back on the stool. Are you going to invite me to dinner? I didn't expect you to be pretty good." Naruto was immediately happy when he heard that In Xiang was going to invite him to dinner. "What's the matter? Can't I invite you to dinner?" "Of course it is, but no one has ever invited me to dinner," Naruto said. At this time, Uncle Yao also put 2 bowls of ramen in front of the two. "Eat, huh?" Seeing the two when the people sat together, Uncle Yao also laughed. It was really rare, and it was rare to see this scene. "I'm starting." After Naruto put his hands together, he picked up his chopsticks and started to eat. In Xiang looked at Naruto, who was eating and drinking, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Looking at Naruto, but now from the perspective of Naruto's brother, In Xiang is also full of doting on Naruto. "What's the matter? Don't you want to eat? If you don't want to eat, I'll eat it." Naruto looked at In Xiang and felt very uncomfortable. "Okay, I'll give you all to eat." In Xiang smiled and pushed the bowl in front of Naruto. "Uncle, let's have another bowl." In Xiang said to Uncle Yao, "That's great." Naruto didn't hesitate at all, just picked up In Xiang's bowl and ate it. He hadn't even finished his own. "Yeah, this is delicious. What does it taste like?" "This is my mother's favorite. Miso seafood ramen, with some salt added. My mother likes salty things." In Xiang looked at Naruto and smiled. "It turned out to be your mother's favorite food. I think this is delicious too. Uncle, I want to eat this next time." Naruto shouted to Uncle Yao. "Okay, miso seafood ramen is here." Uncle Yao quickly brought a new bowl of ramen to In Xiang. "I'm starting," In Xiang whispered, and then he picked up his chopsticks and ate it. He didn't know how many times better than Naruto. After a while, Naruto had eaten 2 bowls of ramen, and there was nothing left. "Thank you for your hospitality," Naruto said with a smile after he finished eating. In Xiang was still eating, so he just nodded and swallowed the food in his mouth. Hand-pulled noodle. "Go back to class, Naruto. Don't skip class in the future," In Xiang explained to Naruto earnestly. Naruto didn't speak, just squinted at In Xiang. "What's wrong?" In Xiang saw Naruto like this, put down his chopsticks, and looked at Naruto. "Why are you being so nice to me? Except for Uncle Yao. Everyone hates me when they see me. You invite me to dinner and ask me to study hard. It feels like an older brother." Naruto, he changed his words, and then quickly shook his head. "What are you kidding me? It's just a kid 1 year older than me. How can you be my brother?" After saying this, Naruto ran out, but instead of running around, he walked back to the classroom by ghosts and spirits. End of this chapter. Chapter 12, The 4 Great Kings. "I'm your brother." After Naruto left, In Xiang whispered softly in his mouth, then shook his head, smiled, and continued to eat ramen. "One day you will meet each other," Uncle Yao said to In Xiang lying on the bar. "Well, I also believe that the sooner you come back that day, the better." In Xiang nodded, finished the ramen, wiped his mouth, and left the money for Uncle Yao. "I'll go first, Uncle." In Xiang waved his hand and said, "Okay." Yao nodded and put away the money on the table. In Xiang returned home and waited to go to school tomorrow, when the team leader would be assigned. "Hey, let's study ninjutsu." In Xiang opened the grade B ninjutsu scrolls, which were written to In Xiang by Kakashi himself. When done, crushing. In Xiang danced his hands, quickly formed a seal, and spit out a ball of high-pressure wind from his mouth, hitting the big tree in front of him. A big hole was punched out of the big tree. After a while, the big tree collapsed. "It's B-level ninjutsu." In Xiang smiled and looked at the fallen tree. Speaking of which, Feng Dun is to restrain Lei Dun. Even if I am proficient in all wind and thunder ninjas when I fight, wouldn't my own ninjas restrain my own ninjas? In Xiang lowered his head and thought. If I say you can't use lay dun when you use feng dun, so how can the Insolo family make the most of the wind and thunder ninja? In Xiang thought about it, then sat cross-legged on the ground, resting his chin with his hands. The wind was blowing. Lay dun. As In Xiang thought about it, a wind group and a thunder group appeared at his left and right hands. Suddenly, In Xiang had a little understanding in his heart. He used Chidori in his left hand and Spiral Pill in his right hand. The two ninjutsu collided and disappeared at the same time. When Naruto and Sasuke fought, they used Spiral Maru and Chidori respectively. At that time, the two people's moves were already very powerful. After they collided, each of them broke an arm. It stands to reason that the wind can restrain the thunder, and Naruto's Spiral Pill should be able to defeat Chidori, so that he will not be injured, but each of them broke an arm. When ninjutsu is strong to a certain level, it can completely ignore the attributes and restraint. If you can cultivate Feng Dun and Lei Dun to the extreme, and combine the two ninjutsu techniques together, you can exert a powerful force. In Xiang thinking of this, I smiled. Chidori is an A-level ninjutsu, and even more powerful than him is Laiki, which is already an S-level ninjutsu, and Spiramaru is also an A-level ninjutsu. The higher-end S-level is a spiral shuriken, and Laiki can still ask Kakashi for advice. I can only study the spiral shuriken by myself. The spiral pill appeared in In Xiang's hand again, and In Xiang tried to add wind chakra to it. The spiral pill in In Xiang's hand gradually became larger, and 4 transparent wind blades also appeared, but In Xiang's wrist also hurt abruptly, and In Xiang quickly dissipated the spiral pill in his hand. That's right, I almost forgot. This spiral shuriken will cause serious internal injuries to the practitioner, and it is also listed as a forbidden technique by Tsunade. Naruto can only use it freely after he has learned the fairy technique, and it really hurts to hold my wrist. It seems that S-rank ninjutsu still can't be rushed. Even Feng Lei's physique can't be practiced like this. In Xiang sighed. What In Xiang lacks now is actual combat experience, and it is very lacking. In Xiang has no experience in fighting ninjas at all, even if he has mastered a powerful ninjutsu. But when faced with a real battle, In Xiang all are likely to be instantly killed by real ninjas. Hey, I hope I can do some battle missions as soon as possible to accumulate some combat experience and killing experience for myself. In this case, I can also do something for Naruto in the future. In Xiang looked up at the sky, then returned to his room, took to sitting on the promenade with a few jugs of wine. I'm sorry, Mom. Although you told me and Naruto that we can only drink after the age of 20. In Xiang smiled, then poured himself a glass of wine and drank it all. He just sat alone until the night. Although Naruto lived a very lonely life, but why was In Xiang not? Naruto made others hate to approach him because of his identity as a 9-tailed man, and In Xiang was an orphan of 4 generations. The identity of the person makes people afraid to approach, and the two have no friends. Is also just a classmate relationship with people in a class, and usually no one is close to them. In Xiang, don't want to be a ninja that everyone fears in this world. I just want to live a good life, be able to protect myself, have a wife, have a child, and live a happy life. In Xiang looked up at the moon in the sky and said, Brush. 4 black shadows passed over In Xiang's roof and landed on the wall in front of In Xiang, wearing masks and possessing a strong murderous aura. Fuck me. In Xiang was startled. The wine glasses in his hands fell to the ground, but these 4 people were not. Did you chase down your 4 masked people back then? Are you coming to kill me again? In Xiang stood up from the corridor. After so many years, they're coming early. Why are they coming now? In Xiang secretly made a seal in his hand and was ready to use the flying thunder god to escape. Obviously, he was not the opponent of these 4 people. Lord, unexpectedly, the 4 people disappeared directly from the roof and appeared in front of In Xiang, already kneeling on the ground. In Xiang was taken a step back by this move. What's the situation? Aren't these 4 people going to kill me? My lord, 12 years ago, I was controlled by illusions, killed the entire clan, said one of the masked people. Almost killed the lord, I really deserve to die. Another masked man said again. No, what's the matter? You are... Insulo's clan? In Xiang frowned and said after hearing this, "The four of us are the four great kings of the Lord's family. Our ancestors guarded the Insulo family from being disturbed for generations. But that night, a masked man appeared in front of us, and we were not strong enough, and we were controlled by illusions with just one face-to-face. All the compatriots in the clan died, tragically under our hands. I just got out of the illusion control recently. After I found out the news of the Lord, I will come immediately and let the Lord decide." The four of them couldn't afford to kneel for a long time, and they didn't dare to look at In Xiang with their heads down. "How did you know I was in Konoha?" Although we were controlled by illusions, our memory was always there. The last time we saw the Lord, it was in Konoha. We searched around, and it was only just now that we determined that you were the Lord. Illusion. Judging from the words of the four great kings just now, In Xiang was even more certain that this Insulo hen must be a transmigrator like himself. Controlled by what illusion? In Xiang looked at them and asked. Writing Wheel I. End of this chapter. Chapter 13. In Xiang's leading teacher. Sharing eyes. In Xiang's pupils shrank suddenly. If it was Xingyan from 12 years ago. That is to say, is it soil? Also ask the Lord to grant me death. If you want to die, you will die. And what are you doing to me? In Xiang sat down cross-legged again. Since they would not be harmful to him, he was relieved. Without the Lord granting death, I would not dare to die at will. Is Insulo's family education so strict? In Xiang pouted. You don't have to die. You are free. Do whatever you want. And the Insulo family will disappear in the future. The four of them looked at each other, and then looked at In Xiang again. Isn't your Lord avenging your clan? Vengeance? Let's not say whether I have that heart. In Xiang smiled. Even if I have that heart, I don't have that strength. I am willing to saddle up for the top, even if I die without regrets. Saddle front and back? What's the use of you saddle front and back? The enemy will control you in one face. I can't even beat you, let alone people who control you easily. In Xiang shook his head. Since you came just now, you should have heard it. I just want to live a normal life. It is enough to have the ability to protect myself. Because of the solo family or something, let him disappear from now on. Anyway, the history of ninjas originally, this clan should not exist, In Xiang thought to himself. As for revenge for the clan, In Xiang never thought about it. He was not from this world. Even if this body is a descendant of the Insulo family, it has nothing to do with him. Since the Lord has given me freedom, then I have the right to self-determination. I hope the Lord can one day figure it out and take revenge for the Solo family. I will apologize with death for this, one of them said, and then the dead person was neat. He pulled out the knife behind his back and wiped his neck directly. Plop. For corpses fell in front of In Xiang's eyes. In Xiang was stunned. What are they doing? Don't you care about your own life? In Xiang stared blankly at the four corpses in front of him. The wine in the glass was no longer fragrant. Gudong. In Xiang swallowed a mouthful of saliva. This was in his true sense. It was the first time he saw a corpse, and he was still a little flustered. After a long delay, In Xiang separated a shadow clone, and together with his shadow clone, buried these four people in the woods, and during this period, he also looted some things from them. Scrolls, ninja swords, kunai, shuriken, detonating talismans, ration pills, and some money that is useless to In Xiang. You're going to die, so leave someone to bury you anyway. Isn't this causing trouble for me? In Xiang said after burying the last shovel in the ground, and then sighed. What kind of clan rules does the Insulo family have? They don't even dare to commit suicide without an order, and they don't care about their own lives. From this point of view, Insulo Hen must also be a cold-blooded and ruthless person. This person should be my great-grandfather. The descendant of the traveler gave birth to a traveler. It's a big joke to say this. In Xiang said to himself. It was getting late. In Xiang packed up the things on the ground. After taking a good shower, I went to bed, and I have to go to the Ninja Academy tomorrow. The matter of the four Soro people did not cause any disturbance in Konoha. They came quietly and died quietly, as if they had never appeared at all. Except for In Xiang, no one knew that they had appeared. When they came to school the next day, the girls found that In Xiang didn't pay attention to them or reply to them. They were also very disappointed, but they didn't say anything to In Xiang. I will be divided into classes today. I don't know who I will be divided into. Tian said to In Xiang. In Xiang, who do you want to be in the same class with? Me? As long as you don't drag me down or cause trouble, I don't want it like you. In Xiang said with a smile. What? Are you saying that I will hold you back? Tianyi clapped the table and stood up and shouted, causing the whole class to look at her, and she hurriedly sat down. Look, you caused me trouble just now. In Xiang shrugged his shoulders and looked at In Xiang with gritted teeth every day and said nothing. Soon a teacher came in to lead people. Until the end, a watermelon head with thick eyebrows and big eyes came in and took Niji, Tian, and Xiaoli away. Until now, In Xiang is the only one left in the classroom. In Xiang was not in a hurry. He couldn't think of who would bring him, and it seemed that he was the only one in this class. So this person must be very special. After waiting for a while, the door of the classroom was finally opened, and a pineapple head walked in. It's really troublesome. I didn't expect to bring you this little brat. He came in and looked at In Xiang's first sentence. Nara, Shikaka. In Xiang frowned, but he didn't expect this person to be his teacher. But seeing him, In Xiang also understands why he is the only one in this class. Nara Shikahiza is afraid of trouble, so he must be unwilling to lead the team, let alone 3 people. Bring one everyone find it troublesome. I didn't expect Senior Nara to lead the team. What a surprise. In Xiang stood up from his seat and walked towards Shikahiza Nara. I originally didn't want to lead the team, but Sendai had to take me with you, so I had to come. Nara Shikahiza was not only for the sake of the 3rd generation, but also for his old comrade in arms, Minato. Okay, Mr. Lugio, I'll trouble you in the future. In Xiang bowed slightly to Lugio and said respect for the teacher. There's no one in the classroom anymore. Let's chat here. Lugio nodded and sat in a seat in the first row. In Xiang sat opposite him, and the two sat face to face. I generally understand your situation. Tell me about your dreams. Lugio said with a smile. Dream? Be a ninja, casually. Have the strength to protect yourself, have a well-behaved wife, have an obedient child, a harmonious family of 3, and live a peaceful life. Well, that's probably the case. Oh, Lugio was stunned for a moment, then laughed. Haha, this is very similar to Shikamaru. Shikamaru's dream is to be a ninja and make some money, then marry a woman who is neither beautiful nor ugly and have 2 children. The first is a girl, the second is a boy. When the daughter gets married, the son can also. When I was alone, I retired from the ninja job. After that, I lived a leisurely secluded life, playing shogi or go every day. Then I died of old age earlier than my wife. End of this chapter. Chapter 14, Nara's Secret Art. Mr. Lugio, I don't know what you want to teach me. In Xiang looked at Lugio and said, Teach you what? The first is chakra control. Lugio thought for a while and said, I'm already very skilled at this. In Xiang said, jumped up, and hung it on the ceiling. Oh, I didn't expect it to be quite powerful. Lugio smiled when he saw it. Let's talk about the purpose of the 3 generations for you to bring me. In Xiang fell from the ceiling and stood in front of Lugio and said. Lugio was a little restless for a while. This kid, as expected, it's the same as what the 3 generations said. Very unusual. He thought to himself, just say what you have, Mr. Lugio. I don't like to be around the corner. In Xiang continued. Okay, the 3 generations want me to train you into an excellent staff officer, and I will help the future Hokage with all my heart. Shikaku also told the truth. That's why I found the Nara clan with the highest IQ in Konoha. In Xiang smiled and said so, but he was thinking, I must control my force, only develop my mind, and rely on my future in the future. Predictive ability. To help the future Hokage, want to tie me firmly to Konoha, this old thing. Even if I don't do it, I have no idea of betraying Konoha. Well, you are very smart, and you do have the material to be a staff officer. Lugio nodded while talking. I want to learn shadow manipulation. In Xiang looked at Lugio and said directly, you really don't like beating around the bush. This is the secret technique of our Nara clan. How can I pass it on to you? Lugio was shocked when he heard this. Although this kid doesn't like to be around the bush, he didn't expect to like it. It has gotten to this point. Don't worry. I will never spread the secret techniques of your clan, and spreading them out won't do me any good. It's like you're looking for the Hyuga clan to look down upon, and the Uchiha clan to write round eyes. They can't give it to you. Lu Jiu gave an example and said, "Indeed, if you want their blood after the boundary, it's definitely not possible. You want me to protect Konoha, but you can't teach me anything. Could it be possible that you can transplant your brain to me?" In Xiang pouted and said, "Haha, I'm afraid it's impossible." Lu Jiu smiled. "It's very beneficial for you to train you alone, although I can't teach you shadow manipulation, but I can teach you mine. Combat ideas, fighting methods, and tactical actions are taught to you. What about ninjutsu?" Apart from my clan's secret technique, there really isn't any ninjutsu. You should know something as simple as the three-body technique." Lu Jiu suddenly felt a little embarrassed. "Okay." In Xiang sighed. "Don't act so disappointed, hello." Lu Jiu shouted at In Xiang like this. How many people wanted him to be a teacher, and he still didn't want to? "If you don't want me to be disappointed, leave the shadow manipulation to me. Maybe I can develop something more profound." Hearing In Xiang's words, Lu Jiu was stunned again. "Impossible. Our family of secret techniques have been used for so long, and we haven't been able to continue developing them. How could you possibly be? It's fine if you don't believe me. You don't teach me. I'll just study it myself." In Xiang pouted and said, "It's just that if I develop a more powerful shadow manipulation technique in the future, don't expect me to teach you." "Are you still confident?" "Well, then it's up to you. If you can really research shadow manipulation, then I'll show you the secret scroll of my family." Lu Jiu smiled. Said, "A word is settled." In Xiang said confidently, "Okay, I'll be here today, and we'll meet at the number 3 practice ground tomorrow." Lu Jiu said and was ready to leave, but he didn't expect In Xiang to be faster than him, and a black light disappeared in front of his eyes. Flying thunder god. Seeing In Xiang's actions, Lu Jiu finally understood how amazing the kid in front of him was. After being shocked for a moment, Shikaku recovered and left the classroom. Here, In Xiang has used Flying Thunder God to return home in an instant. This is also to give the 3rd generation a disgrace. Let the 3rd generation know that he is the son of the 4th generation of Hokage and has obtained the true biography of Minato, telling the 3rd generation that there is no need to be so defensive about himself. Sure enough, when Lu Jiu came to the office and told Sandai about In Xiang's Flying Thunder God, Sandai was surprised, but a smile appeared on his face. "You are acting as In Xiang's sound transmission tube." 3 generations laughed. "Although I know that I will be his microphone, I still have to come. This child is excellent in both strength and brain. I am afraid that it is also very suitable for the successor of Hokage to train on the spot." Set in front of 3 generations. The origin of this child is relatively clear, but we have no way of knowing whether the Solo family has any ambitions. In Xiang fled into Konoha as soon as he was born. He grew up in Konoha. He only knew his surname, Insolo. He didn't even know what the Insolo family was. How could he have any ambitions? As In Xiang's leading teacher, 3 generations will tell him In Xiang's origin. We know almost nothing about the Insolo family. In Xiang has shown extraordinary talent since he was a child. Kakashi told me a few days ago that In Xiang knows how to use wind and thunder ninjutsu at a glance. Not enough, but it's already appalling. What? You can see at a glance? How can there be such a person? Hearing this kind of news, Lu Jiu couldn't calm down either. Maybe he himself received an amazing apprentice. Yes, In Xiang told me that his dream was just to live a normal life. Lu Jiu thought about it and said, "Forget it. It's still too early to say these things. In Xiang is still young, so you should take good care of him." Sandai waved his hand and said, "Then about my clan's secret technique." Lu Jiu looked at Sandai and said, "Although it is a secret technique in the clan, but if Sandai let go, Lu Jiu would also consider it and teach In Xiang. No hurry. Let's see how In Xiang wants to study first." Having said this, the 3 generations laughed again. What an interesting kid. Yes. Shikaka nodded and left. In Xiang here has already started to study the secret arts of the Nara clan. Ninjutsu in this world is all about applying chakra, That is to say, manipulating the shadow is actually injecting chakra into the shadow. In Xiang stared at his shadow, learning the seal of the Nara clan in his hand. Stand up. Then he started trying his best to inject chakra into the shadow. End of this chapter. Chapter 15, Shadow Manipulation failed. In Xiang tried to send chakra into the shadow. Chakra flowed from In Xiang's body from bottom to bottom, all the way to the soles of his feet, and the last step was to inject it into the shadow. But at this last step, In Xiang's chakra did not enter the shadow as he imagined, but entered the ground. The ground sank a little with a bang, but the shadow did not respond at all. It's useless, In Xiang whispered softly and let go of the seal on his hand. With the fineness of In Xiang's chakra control, it is impossible to have a wrong chakra injection. That is to say, the shadow control technique does not injecting chakra into the shadow. If it's not injected into the shadow, where can it be injected? Or release the chakra. Wrap the shadow, In Xiang thought, and release the chakra again to cover the shadow on the ground. Underfoot, a layer of light blue chakra covered the shadow. Under In Xiang's fine control, the shadow seemed to have a slight reaction, but soon calmed down again, just fluctuated slightly, just like the calm lake's surface fluctuated slightly. But this subtle fluctuation was discovered by In Xiang. It can be done. In Xiang was very happy when he saw the hope. He injected more chakra into his feet, and the shadow really had more fluctuations, but although the fluctuations were bigger this time, it soon recovered. Calm, or not? In Xiang frowned, still not giving up, and continued to come again. Twice, until the 10th time, In Xiang finally understood that it would not work. Although it is said that the shadow control technique cannot be used in this way, it is finally in the right direction. If you continue to study and study this way, you should be able to successfully imitate the shadow imitation technique. In Xiang's face showed a smile. After all, it was someone else's home. In Xiang didn't expect to be able to research the secret technique so quickly. After all, besides wind and thunder ninjutsu, he didn't have any other ninjutsu talent that could be seen at a glance. Unconsciously, it was getting dark, so let's eat and eat. In Xiang shook his hand, walked back to the house, and cooked for himself. After eating, he went to bed. Until the next morning, In Xiang ate something and arrived at the training ground number 3. Lu Jiu also came, and the two came together from different directions. What are you doing today? Do you have a mission? I'll take you on a mission in the future, so I'll test your strength first. So here it is. Lu Jiu stopped. This is a clearing in the forest, and the area is not very large. Okay. In Xiang also agreed immediately, dodged and retreated a long way, standing 5 meters in front of Lu Jiu. This is a good opportunity to observe shadow manipulation up close. In Xiang thought to himself, come on. Lu Jiu stood on the spot and stretched out a hand to In Xiang, indicating that In Xiang could start. Battle is not the purpose. The purpose is to observe the shadow manipulation technique. In Xiang thought again, set a task for himself, then picked up kunai, rushed up with a stride, and first used taijutsu to fight Lu Jiu. Lu Jiu also took out the kunai, and the two kunai collided together. These Lu Jiu also felt that In Xiang's wrist strength and arm strength were very strong. The two kunai collided, and In Xiang's left hand took out a kunai again. Up, Lu Jiu's wrist exerted force and pushed In Xiang's right hand away directly, then blocked In Xiang's left hand who was waving kunai, and kicked In Xiang's chest with one kick. When In Xiang saw this, he also blocked his chest with his right hand, was kicked by Lu Jiu on his arm, and flew out backwards. Strength, speed, and reaction are all good. Go ahead. Lu Jiu commented on In Xiang's actions just now. Yes, In Xiang nodded, feeling a little excited. This was the first time he used the ninja way to fight, not the children's petty fights. Although it was a battle to test his strength, it was still considered a battle. A little practical experience after becoming a ninja myself. When done. Big breakthrough. In Xiang's hand was sealed, and a big breakthrough attacked Lu Jiu. When the big breakthrough was attacked, In Xiang threw a kunai that used Thunder Dun Chakra to speed up. Taking advantage of the big breakthrough, he charged towards Lu Jiu extremely fast. This speed is so fast that there is no way to hide. Yin Xiang's hand also made Lu Jio's eyes widen, but it was too late. Kunwu directly hit Lu Jio in the chest, and then Lu Jio was lifted by the big breakthrough, turned over and rolled out all the way on the ground, very embarrassed. Teacher Lu Jio. Seeing this, Yin Xiang ran over quickly, waiting to run to Lu Jio. There was a soft click. Lu Jio on the ground turned into a piece of wood, and a kunai touched the back of Yin Xiang's head. Don't take it lightly. Yin Xiang turned his head slowly, and Lu Jio was standing behind him. When Yin Xiang started to make the seal, Lu Jio secretly made the seal of the substitute technique. Although he didn't know what kind of ninjutsu Yin Xiang would use, Lu Jio still chose evade with a surrogate. At the same time, Lu Jio also secretly thought that he was lucky, but fortunately he used the substitute technique. Otherwise, the end of the wood just now is his end. This kid is really powerful. Using Lei Dun to accelerate the kunai, and then use the big breakthrough to continue to accelerate the kunai that has been accelerated by the Lei Dun, making the kunai extremely fast, and there is no way to hide. It seems that the attack is a big breakthrough, but in fact it is extremely fast. Hurry up! The powerful Lei Dun Kunwu is a great move. Lu Jio put away the kunwu that was on Yin Xiang's head and praised Yin Xiang. But Mr. Lu Jio was still dodged. Yin Xiang pulled out the kunai from the wood and said, "Sure enough, the teacher is better. If it's not like this, how can I be your teacher?" Lu Jio also smiled and said, "The strength is very good. Just that move Lei Dun Kunwu just now, although it is not ninjutsu, but the accelerated Lei Dun Kunwu is not a ninjutsu. The power is already equivalent to a B-rank ninjutsu, and the chakra used is also low consumption. You have such strength. What you lack is combat experience. After you have accumulated enough combat experience, the Chunin exam will be easy for you. The Chunin exam is still a long time away, and I will definitely be able to accumulate enough combat experience before I do it again." Yin Xiang nodded firmly and said, "Actually speaking, with your strength, we can do C-level tasks now, but to be C-level people, we need at least a 3-person team. So we have to team up with others to do C-level tasks. But now everyone else is still doing D-level tasks, so we can only take D-level tasks to pass the time." Lu Jio said to Yin Xiang. Yin Xiang was speechless. Can you skip the D-level tasks and train them until they could do the C-level tasks? End of this chapter. Chapter 16, The Sudden Appearance of Tonin. Under Yin Xiang's reasoning, he was still defeated. In desperation, he started his D-level mission. However, every time Yin Xiang walked to the mission location, the person who issued the mission would be very warmly entertained. Yin Xiang, on the contrary, those tasks fell on Lu Jio's head. Yin Xiang was not so extreme. He used a shadow clone to help Lu Jio. These Lu Jio also knew that Yin Xiang would use a shadow clone. Yin Xiang can only do tasks during the day and practice ninjutsu after returning home at night. But at night there is no sun, so there is no shadow, and Yin Xiang can't practice shadow control outside. So the research on shadow control has been stopped. Forward. Morning, Mr. Lu Jio. Finally, after doing D-level tasks for 2 months, Yin Xiang was finally able to take on C-level tasks today. Well, today, with the 3rd class, we will do a C-level task, protect the caravan, and go out of the border of the country of fire. At that time, there will be ninjas from neighboring countries to hand over. Lu Jio directly told Yin Xiang the task. Okay, so the people this caravan will meet are probably robbers on the road, right? Yin Xiang nodded and asked. Well, in general, they are ordinary robbers, but it is not ruled out that they will encounter ninjas. Okay, Yin Xiang nodded and left with Lu Jio. The two of them were at the gate of Konoha together and reunited with the 3rd class. Kai, Shaoli, Ningxi, and Tian Tian also just arrived at the door. Yilin Xiang. Tian Tian greeted Yin Xiang warmly. Among those present, Tian Tian and Yin Xiang were relatively familiar. Long time no see, Tian Tian. Yin Xiang also greeted Tian Tian, and the two stuck together. Okay, let's start the mission of Burning Youth. Kai shouted when he saw that everyone was there. Yes, Teacher Kai. Shaoli shouted loudly from the side. Lu Jio and Yin Xiang's 2 masters and apprentices looked at Shao Li and Kai's two masters and apprentices with black lines. Master, don't hold back. Niji seemed to be very hostile to Yin Xiang. Don't worry. Yin Xiang just smiled softly at Ningxi, which was obviously inversely proportional to Ningxi's attitude. After that, the five of them set off on the road. In a village, they received a convoy, and two people led a cart of cloth-covered goods and started on the road. The journey went smoothly, and the goods were quickly handed over to the neighboring country. Even if the mission was completed, no robbers were encountered along the way. This task is too boring. Yin Xiang sighed softly and said, although it was his first time out of the village, but it was actually not much fun, except that the woods were the woods. It's better than chasing cats and dogs in the village. He walked with Yin Xiang every day. That's right. Yin Xiang didn't object. He nodded. How about it? Be in the same class with a person you like. Yin Xiang whispered into Tiantian's ear. Say something. Tian made a big red face again. I still don't admit it. Yin Xiang smiled, then put his hand on Tiantian's shoulder and put Tian in his arms. Tian subconsciously wanted to struggle, but Yin Xiang's hand was even harder, and Tian couldn't break free from Yin Xiang's arms, and then looked at Yin Xiang suspiciously. Look at Niji, you're in my arms. He has no mood swings at all. He doesn't mean anything to you at all. Yin Xiang said with his head on Tian. Every day, he turned to look at Ningji, and he found that Ningji was still following Kai with an indifferent expression. There must be no mood swings. Tian couldn't help being a little unhappy. And then Yin Xiang let go of Tian. So it seems that you haven't made any progress at all, and he doesn't have any feelings for you. Yes, he didn't find my mind at all. Tian also said with a sigh. So you want him? Yin Xiang's hand suddenly lifted, and a thunder kunai was thrown out. Boom! With a bang, a tree was directly pierced by Yin Xiang's lei-dun kuo, and the whole tree fell down. Everyone was stunned by Yin Xiang's hand, except for Lu Jiao. If there was no Feng Dun's blessing, lei-dun kunai's power is also the power of sea-level ninjutsu, and it is easy to knock down a tree. Although they were surprised, everyone immediately became alert and looked at the place where the fallen tree was. That's amazing, Konoha Ninja. A figure jumped down from another tree, and there was a scorched wound on his cheek, which was caused by Yin Xiang's kunai. Sound Ninja. Yin Xiang saw the forehead guard on his head and recognized that he was the ninja of the country of grass. That is to say, he was from Orochimaru. What is Inran doing here? Lujo also stared at that Inran and said, just come around and walk around. The Tone Ninja said, Zhuan, why did Zhuan show murderous intent towards me? Yin Xiang just now felt a little flustered and felt a little suffocated. He followed the suffocation to find the tree. So Yin Xiang through the thunder escaped suffering. However, lei-dun kunai, who was able to escape the sudden attack, still only hurt his cheeks, and the Tonin in front of him must not be easy. Everyone understands this, so they didn't make a rash move. It's nothing. I recognize the wrong person. The Tone Ninja said. Nonsense. Yin Xiang threw a thunderbolt kunai again, but this kunai was a little different. Looking at the thunderbolt kunai, Inrin gently tilted his head and avoided the kunai. Although he avoided kunai, his eyes froze, and he was a little flustered because Yin Xiang's figure disappeared and appeared behind him. Flying Thunder God. Kai widened his eyes and recognized this ninjutsu. Spiral pills. Yin Xiang appeared and lei-dun kuo and held kuo. This kuo was actually the flying thunder kuo of Minato. Yin Xiang appeared behind him and used the spiral pills to hit him directly. On the body of this sound ninja, the speed is extremely fast. Touch. This body was directly twisted by the spiral pill and then flew down from the tree. Yin Xiang stood in the position he had just now. Fake. Yin Xiang frowned. Although he had not hit the human body with the spiral pill, he had hit the soil with the spiral pill. Sure enough, the Tonin that fell to the ground turned into a pool of mud. Yin Xiang's also quickly jumped from the tree back to the crowd. It would be safer here. The five were on guard for a while, but this Inrin never appeared again. The five looked at each other and then relaxed their vigilance. I didn't expect Yin Xiang to be so powerful. Kai looked at Yin Xiang and put away his indecentness. As expected, he is the son of the fourth Hokage. This is youth. Kai shouted again, this guy really not normal. End of this chapter. Chapter 17, the 7th class collection. I don't know who that person is, but Ain Run is very mysterious, and I still don't know who is in charge. Lugio said with a solemn expression, but he seems to have already left. Let's go back to the village as soon as possible to investigate this matter. Kai said aside, several people agreed, and then left. Is it already that strong? The extremely fast Kanai just now, and his figure that disappeared in an instant. Fei Lei Shun, what is that? Niji looked at Yin Xiang's back with a solemn expression. He is the same age as himself, and he is called a genius. Then this person is so much stronger than himself, than him. After Yin Xiang and others left, a man appeared behind a tree. He tore off a layer of human skin on his face, and blood slid down from his cheek. Looking at the charred marks on the human skin mask, he stretched the long snake head, licked the blood off his cheeks. Minato's adopted son. It's really interesting. This person was Orochimaru. When he saw Yin Xiang, he thought that this person was Minato's adopted son. And when he thought of Minato, he thought that it was Minato who took his Hokage position, but Minato was already dead. So the murderous intention of Minato came to Yin Xiang, and Yin Xiang felt the murderous intention at this moment. It was because he felt the murderous aura at this moment that Yin Xiang Tsai threw Lei Dun Kanai and injured Orochimaru. Chunin exam. I have to focus on taking care of this little devil. Orochimaru's mouth showed a smile. Yin Xiang and the others quickly returned to the gate of Konoha village. Then I'll tell the 3 generations of adults about the outside world, Kai said, and left with his 3rd shift, waving to Yin Xiang every day. Yin Xiang also waved at Tian with a smile. That person reacted very quickly. He could dodge the combined attack of Fei Lei Shun and Helix Maru. He was also an elite Jonin with the least strength. Such a person appeared around Konoha village. Yin Xiang still doesn't realize that that person is Orochimaru. He only thought he was an elite Jnin among the sound ninjas, and came to inquire about information. Probably came here to inquire about the information, and there will be people from Umbu who will specifically check it out. Lugio said to Yin Xiang, however, your ability to make the elite suffer is very powerful. It's just taking advantage of the surprise. Even if it's a surprise, I can't hurt him. If it's a head-to-head confrontation, I'm afraid I will die at his hands soon. Not arrogant or arrogant, that's fine. Lugio nodded with satisfaction. It's getting dark too, so let's see you tomorrow, Mr. Lugio. Yin Xiang looked at the sky and said. Lugio nodded, and the two separated. Yin Xiang was walking on the street of Konoha, and then went to Ichiro Ramen to eat ramen, and then walked to the lake alone, sitting by the lake and looking at the lake. The surface of the lake fluctuated gently, and Yin Xiang's heart was also slowly fluctuating. After he came to this world, inexplicably, it was a smooth ride. Now that he can beat his strength, he can beat him and run away. I've been able to live a quiet day. But now I am too young, and I have to shoulder the task of protecting Naruto. But if we want to protect Naruto, we must deal with Naruto's enemies. What the Otsutsuji clan, to deal with these people. The current strength is completely not enough, but also to become stronger. But if you do this, your peaceful life will be ruined. How did I come to this world? I'm not in this world. What's the use of being confused in this world? Yin Xiang threw a stone into the water, and the stone sank directly. Who are you? A voice came from behind Yin Xiang. Yin Xiang looked back. It was Sasuke Uchiha. Yin Xiang stood up from the ground. Yin Xiang. Yin Xiang said to Sasuke, you are Sasuke Uchiha. Yin Xiang. Sasuke frowned, as if he had heard the name before. Puffing Yin Xiang, I remembered. Yeah. Yin Xiang nodded. This is my place, let's go. Sasuke said directly to Yin Xiang, meaning that Yin Xiang was standing on his side. Really? Yin Xiang just smiled at this and walked to Sasuke. Why doesn't it look like it at all? After Yin Xiang said something that made Sasuke mindless, he left, leaving a face on his face. The confused Sasuke didn't look like anything at all. It's not like Naruto at all. What is Jura? The reincarnation of Indra, Yin Xiang shook his head, then returned home, packed up, and went to bed. After that, they continued their boring tasks until the day when Naruto was divided into classes. Yin Xiang and Lugio came to the training ground number 3 and assembled as usual. In Xiang, who had simply had breakfast, took one by the way. Apple went to gather, but today there are a few more people here. In Xiang and Lu Jiu came from both directions. There are already 3 people sitting in the open space. In Xiang looked over and saw that it was Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. It seemed that today was the day for them to gather. In Xiang, why are you here? Naruto jumped up from the ground when he saw In Xiang and ran in front of In Xiang. I've been gathering here all the time. In Xiang said as he walked. You guys are divided into classes? In Xiang said hesitantly. Yeah, Kakashi-sensei asked us to come at 7 o'clock, and he didn't let us eat. But he hasn't come yet, Naruto said while covering his stomach, and his stomach made a cooing sound. Didn't eat? I only have this. You can eat it. In Xiang took out the apple he took with him in the morning from his pocket, but unexpectedly used it on Naruto. Gah, that's great. I finally have something to eat. Naruto also unceremoniously took the apple from In Xiang's hand and ate it. Seeing Naruto like this, In Xiang also smiled. At this time, the two had also walked to Sasuke and others. Isn't that In Xiang, Naruto, you know him? Xiao Ying asked Naruto when she saw In Xiang approaching. Although she said that she had seen In Xiang from a distance on the street before, but now she has seen In Xiang from a distance. When I saw In Xiang, I realized that this person was so handsome. Well, I've always known you. Naruto was busy eating and ignored her. In Xiang replied for Naruto and smiled at Xiao Ying at the same time. Xiao Sakura was made again by In Xiang's smile and suddenly started giggling over there. Okay, In Xiang, let's go to work. Lu Jiu said to In Xiang. In Xiang also nodded. Naruto, I'm leaving. You have to be careful about Kakashi. Naruto nodded while eating the apple, then quickly ate the apple. Goodbye. Naruto said to In Xiang's back. In waved to Naruto with his back turned. End of this chapter. Chapter 18 Shogi. Looking at In Xiang's back, Sasuke's eyes had some unknown emotions. He thought that In Xiang's eyes when looking at Naruto just now were so doting, as if that man had looked at him back then. It's been so long, still haven't found that In Xiang said to Lu Jiu. Well, there's no news at all. I won't do the task today. Go to my house to play shogi. Lu Jiu said to In Xiang. Playing chess again. In Xiang curled his lips helplessly, because In Xiang and Lu Jiu have always won and lost when playing chess, which also aroused Lu Jiu's desire to play chess with In Xiang often. Idea. Haha, because you're the only person who can play chess with me back and forth. I really doubt that your kid's IQ is no worse than our Nara clan. I'm not low in IQ. Not low in IQ. I've been researching your secret technique for nearly a year and haven't come up with it yet. Isn't it shameful? In Xiang and Lu Jiu said as they walked. After all, it's a secret technique. If you can crack the secret technique so easily, can it still be called a secret technique? I thought I already had some connections a year ago, but I didn't expect that trick to deduct my shadow from the ground and become a real shadow clone, a dark me. In Xiang, he curled his lips. As early as a year ago, when he covered the shadow with chakra, he thought he was about to succeed. But he didn't expect that the more he went to the back, the worse it was. The shadow actually stood up from the ground and was able to control the shadow according to his own thoughts, which surprised In Xiang at the time. Isn't that good too? Although I didn't learn the shadow manipulation technique, I still created the A-level ninjutsu shadow secret technique. The only ones who can create their own ninjutsu at the age of 13 are you and Kakashi. Your shadow secret method can also allow you and the shadow to switch positions, which could be said to be very powerful. But swapping positions doesn't really mean much to me, the Flying Thunder God. In Xiang's shadow trick is similar to Madara's wheel tomb, except that the shadow of the wheel tomb cannot be seen. In Xiang's shadow can be seen. In Xiang also wonders how he could create such a ninjutsu. He is confused. So, leave your shadow manipulation to me. As a disciple of Yanara Shikahiza, I don't even know how to manipulate shadows, so it doesn't sound good to spread out. Don't try to change the concept. The teacher is the teacher. The secret technique is the secret technique. I can't pass on the secret technique of the Nara family to you. Lu Jiu smiled and said. The two soon came to Lu Jiu's place. At home, sit in the hallway and start playing shogi. To say that In Xiang's current strength is equivalent to a chunin. If you add the unexpected Fei Lei Shun, he can only barely reach the Jinin, because although Fei Lei Shun is fast, there are no people who can become Hunin. What a simple thing. At most one loss in the hands of Fei Lei Shun, of course. It is In Xiang's Fei Lei Shun. If the person who uses Fei Lei Shun is the second Hokage Senju Tobarama or the fourth Hokage Namikaze Minato, it will be different. Uchiha Izana and the Masked Man are an example. One died directly, and the other was interrupted. Arm. But In Xiang can't do this now. Where's Shikamaru? You're not at home today, In Xiang asked Lugio, and he can still see Shikamaru occasionally when he comes here. He's going to gather today, too. Asmo will bring their new generation of pigs and deer butterflies. Lugio has set the chess and is ready to start. You may not know that your genius name has already spread. Huh? When? How come I don't know? In Xiang scratched his head. He really didn't know. Having mastered Fei Lei Shun and Spiral Maru, who have mastered the true tradition of the fourth generation, he learned Fonlei Ninjutsu as soon as he learned it. He created his own A-level ninjutsu, and the genius ninja wave In Xiang. Lugio told In Xiang what he said from outside. I really haven't heard of it. Why is it being said outside? I don't know it yet, and I can't eat my own melon. Anyway, it's an honor for me to be your teacher. Your kid's future is boundless. Lugio laughed, and the two started to play chess. Hey, the bigger the reputation, the more troubles. In Xiang sighed. Learning to fly Thunder God is for self-protection. Wind and Thunder Ninjutsu will be because of blood, and self-created ninjutsu is completely accidental. What a genius. I just like the way you're not arrogant or impetuous. Recently, I have been researching sealing techniques. How is the research going? It's not very good. It's all ghostly drawn talismans. I can't see all of them. In Xiang shook his head and said, That's it. If the seal technique is used, Kakashi will use the seal of Evil Seal. And if he finds someone who is good at sealing technique, it will be 3 generations. Lugio is also trying to find a way for In Xiang. Well, I'm going to go to the 3rd generation to ask for advice on sealing techniques. I have the 5-element seal, the gossip seal, the diamond seal, and the scroll of the fire seal. These 4 are strong sealing techniques, all left by my mother. These 4 sealing techniques are all things that make people jealous. If you want to master these 4 sealing techniques, you can only ask the 3rd generation, but In Xiang. Lugio suddenly looked at In very seriously. Xiang, he rarely showed such a serious expression. Never learned from ghouls. I know. In Xiang nodded with a sad look in his eyes. Looking at In Xiang like this, Lugio felt very uncomfortable. In fact, In Xiang didn't have the talent to learn seal art at all, but he's been studying hard all the time, wanting to learn seal art, not for anything else, but also for his mother. It is Uzumaki Kushina, the woman with the strongest Konoha sealing technique. He didn't want to lose face to his mother. General, In Xiang dropped a sun at this moment and blocked Lugio's jade directly. Huh? Lugio was stunned for a moment, then smiled bitterly, but he didn't expect to lose to this kid again without knowing it. Lugio also reluctantly played the chess again, and finally put down the king chess, also known as jade. In Xiang, do you know what jade represents? Lugio asked In Xiang. Jade? Shiken frowned. This question was a question that Asmo once asked Shikamaru. Only after Asma died, Shikamaru understood what jade represented. If playing shogi is my task today, then jade is the target I want to protect. In Xiang replied, but Lugio was stunned by this return. He didn't expect In Xiang to answer like that. What if it's not a mission? Shikaku continued to ask. It's not a mission. Then jade is what I want to protect. If my jade is gone, everything will be gone. End of this chapter. Chapter 19, B-level missions. You mean Naruto? Lugio asked after being silent for a while. In Xiang nodded. The thing I want to protect is Naruto. What would you do if Naruto committed rebellion one day? Lugio asked. According to Naruto being treated like this by Konoha's people, he is very likely to betray. If this step is reached, In Xiang Yao how to do it. No. In Xiang shook his head. Naruto will never betray Konoha. If there is such a day, I will crush my jade with my own hands. Yin Xiang looked at the jade on the chessboard and said, but of course he was very sure that Naruto would not betray. Go to pick up a B-level mission tomorrow, or go with the third class. Lu Jiu nodded and said, B-level mission? What kind of B-level mission? You have to be prepared. There may be ninjas on the way. We will fight each other. It is a mission. Where is the escort? The country of honey is a small country. This person has been in Konoha for a long time. He was chased in. His identity is the princess of the country of honey. He has a guard with him, and his strength is only in Chunin. Princess of the land of honey, the only guards are Chunin, which means that the ninjas who chase her along the way are not stronger than Chunin, right? According to the information provided by the guards, there are 5 Chunin on the opposite side. After chasing people into Konoha, they retreated, but there's still a high possibility of encountering them on the way back. You go back and prepare well. Okay. Yin Xiang nodded. General. The next morning, the third class and Yin Zhenglijiu came to the place where the mission was released, waiting for the arrival of the princess of the land of honey. But the 5 people waited from morning to noon, and the princess and the guard arrived slowly. Watching her sleepily, he looked stunned, as if he had just woken up. Her age looks similar to Yin Xiang, at most 14 years old. Just these few people, they're still children. Do you Konoha really take my comfort in your eyes? Said the long-haired girl in a pale yellow kimono, her tone very arrogant. Don't worry, we have 2 Hunin accompanying us. This team is the safest team you can invite. Lu Jiu said to the princess very peacefully. Konoha's strongest mind, Nara Shikahiza, Konoha's most powerful blue beast Akai, Konoha genius Niji Hyuga, and Namikaze's Inxiang, hardworking genius Rockly, Konoha Shimonin, the best swordsman Tian. Among the new generation of genin teams that can perform this mission, there is no better team than this one. Okay, let's go. The princess was relieved when she heard that there were 2 Shangnin. In a small country like the land of honey, Shangnin is very rare. This time, there are 2 Shanjin to protect her. She was naturally relieved. You take these things. The princess pointed at Shaoli and then pointed at a large backpack at the door, which probably contained all the things she was going to eat on the way. Ale. Shaoli was stunned for a moment, but he still walked to the door and carried the big bag on his back. Take it as a kind of exercise. Shaoli clenched his fists to cheer himself up, seeing that the bag must be heavy. Don't drop it. This is what I want to eat on the way. The princess shouted to Shaoli, don't worry. Xiaoli raplia firmly. Hey. Yin Xiang sighed silently, seeing that the hardest part of this mission was not fighting ninjas, but taking care of the princess. Then, I'll trouble you all. The princess guard bowed to Lu Jiu and Akai. He was not very old. He looked like he was 17 or 18. The group walked to the gate of the village. Yin Xiang stretched his back and finally left the village again. This time, he was going to another country, so it was considered a trip. If it was Chunin, it was nothing to be afraid of. You come and carry me. The princess pointed at Yin Xiang and said, Yin Xiang almost fell to the ground with a stagger and pointed at himself. Me? Carry you? His Royal Highness, let me carry you. The guard stepped forward and said that before they were carrying the sedan chair, but when they were chased and killed, the sedan chair was broken and the person carrying the sedan chair died. The guards escaped into Konoha behind her back. No, I just want he come back me. The princess looked at Yin Xiang and said sentence by sentence. This. The guard looked at the princess's eyes. It was clearly because he liked this person's eyes very much. They couldn't tell, but he guarded the princess since she was a child, and he almost grew up with the princess. He knew what this look was meaning. It's really troublesome. It's not bad that it's your highness the princess. Yin Xiang sighed. With a seal on his hand, the shadow stood up from the ground, walked in front of the princess, and bent down. My shadow will carry you. Yin Xiang said when it was over, he left without looking back. Is this the shadow secret method? It's amazing. Shaoli looked at the dark shadow and said, although I heard that Yin Xiang created the shadow secret method, but now I still think it is very powerful. Kai also said, sure enough, youth has infinite possibilities. Yes, teacher Kai. The 2 masters and apprentices hugged each other inexplicably and cried. You. The princess looked at Yin Xiang's leaving back and stomped her feet. But then she lay on Yin Xiang's shadow, and the shadow began to move forward. This ninjutsu, this boy, as a chunin, the guard naturally saw that this was a kind of ninjutsu he had never seen before or even heard of it. Was it a self-created ninjutsu? With her on this trip, maybe it's really possible. Hey, Yin Xiang, your charm is still very powerful. This princess immediately fell in love with you. Tian Xiaobu ran to Yin Xiang's side and said, those men couldn't see it, but as a girl, she saw it at once. Ow! What's the use of me being attractive? You still like Niji Hyuga every day. Yin Xiang tilted his head to look at the tree aside. Huh? Tian was stunned for a moment. Shouldn't he? No. How could Yin Xiang like me? Tian shook his head and mumbled. What are you stunned for? Let's go. Ningxi's voice sounded in Tian's ears. It turned out that Tian was stunned for a while and then stopped. Yin Xiang had already walked out for a period, and Tian replied quickly, and then walked with Ningxi. Together. Hey, that female ninja, come here. The princess shouted to Tian, who looked back and walked over. What's wrong? Tian smiled at the princess and said, tell me, what is that person's name and what kind of person is he? Asked the princess lying on the shadow. End of this chapter. Chapter 20's level mission? Tian followed the princess's gaze. It was Yin Xiang. His name is Buofeng Yin Xiang, the son of the 4th Hokage, the genius ninja of Konoha. Tian said, the son of the 4th Hokage? The princess was surprised when she heard this. I didn't expect to be escorted by the son of the 4th Hokage. Saying this, we're all covered. The guard was also taken aback. Although Miji is a princess of a country, she is a small country after all. Still a far cry. Is also the identity of Yin Xiang's 4th generation Hokage's son, which is higher than the identity of the princess of this country. Don't worry about it. I'm just taking a mission. At this time, the shadow of the princess was carrying the princess, but she spoke, which startled the princess and almost fell from the shadow. But fortunately, she was dragged by the shadow and did not fall. Scared me. Miji was so frightened by the shadow that she didn't expect the shadow to be able to speak. Yin Xiang. Tian was also taken aback and looked at Yin Xiang in front, but Yin Xiang still walked by himself, as if he didn't know what was going on behind him. Yin Xiang's shadow secret method is like a piece from himself. The 5 senses of himself and the shadow are all linked together. He can see what the shadow can see, and he can hear what the shadow can hear. 2. If the shadow is used to inquire at night, it is excellent. But the idea is good. The reality is cruel. There is no sun at night, and shadows cannot exist. That is to say, at night, shadow esoteric methods cannot be used. Hey, let me ask you, do you want to come to our country of honey to be the concubine? Miji said directly to the shadow. When Miji said this, Tian next to her felt inexplicably tight, and she didn't know what to do with herself. Know what's going on? You are too straightforward, Shadow said with a very calm tone. In fact, Yin Xiang's heart was very uneasy, and this princess was too straightforward. He said it in a complaining tone. The mouth turned into an emotionless voice, and the voice made by the shadow can only be this emotionless voice. I won't leave Konoha. Shadow continued. After saying this, Tian's heart was relieved, as if he was afraid of Yin Xiang's promise. The land of honey is very good. The flowers and plants are all beautiful, not worse than Konoha village. Miji continued without giving up. Very good. You are a princess, traveling and being hunted down. The purpose is to use you to threaten the name of the country of honey. Let him call the country of honey. The country of honey is still at war at this time. Shadow, speak up. The only way to threaten my father is to arrest me. Isn't it because they can't break through the country of honey? It means that our country of honey is stronger than them. Shadow shook his head. At this time of war, Daimyo can still let you out. Not to play, but to let you escape. The country of honey is about to end. If you go back this time, if you don't go to die, you just want to save the land of honey with our hands. That's it. Lu Jiu stopped. He also wanted to understand this on the way, and everyone stopped. What? Is that so? Akai shouted. Miji lowered her head and didn't speak, and the guard lowered her head too. If this is the case, this task is a B-level task of saving a country, a task related to the classified matters of the national level. The content of the work may be to participate in wars, assassinate dignitaries, carry confidential documents, etc. at the invitation of other countries. This is already a S-level mission. If you can't explain clearly, sorry, we can only go back. Lugio looked at Miji and said. Miji gritted her teeth. Yes, that's it. Fortunately, In Xiang found out early, and the S-level mission went like we did. Isn't it a death sentence? Shaoli said on the side. In Xiang walked back from the front and stood in front of the shadow. You'd better explain clearly who the other party is, how many Shangnin, how many Chunin, are there any ninjas with shadow-level strength, and at the same time increase the quest reward. We send someone back to ask for reinforcements, or simply abandon the mission. Sorry, we lied to you. The guard knelt directly on the ground. The country of honey is indeed about to be destroyed. I escaped with the princess and wanted to ask Konoha Ninja to help us take back the country. But we are now. It's because I can't afford to pay for the S-rank mission. So, looked at the guard kneeling on the ground, and no one helped him. After all, they were joking about the life of the Konoha Ninja. But In Xiang and Lugio looked at each other. Mr. Lugio, is this task the third generation assigned us to do? Yeah. Lugio nodded. After receiving this task, the third generation notified the third shift and me to let us go to the land of honey. That is to say, 3 generations are likely to know the situation in the country of honey. So, it is very dangerous to designate our group. But with Teacher Kai's strength, it is not a problem to fight against the shadow level. In Xiang looked at Akai, and Akai's face was at this moment. With a serious expression, I didn't expect In Xiang to see his strength. Indeed, if you open 7 gates, you can fight against the shadow rank. With Mr. Kai, one of Konoha's strongest combat powers, and Mr. Lugio, a spy who is good at state affairs, I guess the enemy has no more than 3 upper ninjas, no more than 10 Chunin, and most lower ninjas, but no more than 5. 10. This task is specially asked by the third generation for us to complete. In Xiang said, resting his chin in his hand. Young Master In Xiang is right. The enemy is the country of stuffing. There are 3 upper ninjas, 8 middle ninjas, and 23 lower ninjas. This is the information when we came out. Now after the war, I don't know where there are how many people, maybe a lot less. The guard said. In Xiang shook his head. I can't be sure that there will be fewer, and it cannot be ruled out that the ninjas in the country of honey will surrender. Are dozens of ninjas also a war? Tian said suspiciously. I heard that during the previous war, hundreds of thousands of ninjas were dispatched in the ninja village. A small country is different from a big country. It is very rare to have a jounin, and there is still a lot of strength gap between a small country and a big country. The 2 jounin of a small country may not be able to deal with one of the big countries. Shangnin, if you encounter a kind of Shangnin like Akai can fight 3 times. Hey, Lugio, do you mean that you don't want to shoot at that time? Akai immediately heard what Lugio meant. It's too much trouble. Lugio smiled. The guards listened to their conversation. They seem to be going into this chapter. Chapter 21, Go to the Land of Honey. Although we are going, we still have to think about everything from a long-term perspective. After arriving in the Land of Honey, we must have a detailed plan before we can start. Lugio nodded and said, Thank you so much. The guards kowtowed to several people directly. After all, it was a matter of saving his country. The remuneration is adjusted to 1 million, and it will increase depending on the situation. Remember to pay the remuneration after successfully rescuing the Land of Honey. In Xiang said, then turned around and prepared to leave. Thank you. Miji also jumped down from the shadow to thank In Xiang and others. Hey, but are we really going to do this S-level mission? It feels very dangerous. Tian followed In Xiang and said, the strength of the opponent's upper ninja may only be in the Chunin of our village, and the strength of the Chunin is only in the lower ninja. For us, the lower ninja is just an ordinary person who can throw away kunai. Just check the terrain, wait for the opportunity to attack and assassinate, and reduce the number of opponents. To prevent their crowd tactics, this task can be completed. In Xiang said to Tian. You've already made a plan. Tion's eyes lit up. She always knew that Xiang was very smart, but she didn't expect to be so smart. But we can't take it lightly, and we can't rule out the possibility that someone will sacrifice, so we must be careful. Xiang nodded. After all, he has never killed anyone. Although it is easy to say that a sneak attack is an assassination, it will really be like this at that time. When he was doing it, Xiang really didn't know if he could do it. Although ninjas have been instilled with the idea of killing enemies since he was a child, and they're not relentless in killing people, but Xiang is a modern person after all, and the modern ideas that have been instilled are still more like those of ninjas. Can't kill innocent people indiscriminately. Not even a dog's life can't be trampled on. If he wants to kill someone now, Xiang still has to be mentally prepared. Miji was embarrassed to let Xiang back again and walked behind him. Xiang also retracted his shadow when he saw it, and then took out a military ration pill from his bag and knocked it down to recover the chakra. Why do you just eat military ration pills? Does the shadow's secret method cost a lot of chakra? Tian looked at Xiang and said, "Yeah." Xiang nodded. "It's not just chakra. It's also very physically exhausting. The way the shadow travels plus the way I travel. In fact, I've already walked twice as much as you guys." Xiang smiled wryly for a moment. If the shadow is injured, the injury will still be on you, which will hurt your own body of ninjutsu." "Yes, sure." Xiang quickly blocked Tian's mouth. It's true that such ninjutsu will be listed as a forbidden technique, but Xiang doesn't want him to be listed as a forbidden technique. If he created the first ninjutsu by himself, it was included in the forbidden art. Isn't that inheriting the mantle of the second Hokage, Senju Tobirama? If the ninjutsu he created in the future becomes a forbidden technique, what should we do? Wouldn't that be poisoned by Tobirama? I won't say it. It's just that you need to use this ninjutsu less in the future. You can't use forbidden techniques just to not carry a person. Tian turned into a long-winded old woman at this time. "Okay, I see, old lady." Xiang nodded perfunctorily. "Who's the old woman?" "You, old man." "Damn." After Tian finished speaking, he suddenly felt that what they said seemed a little ambiguous. What kind of old woman? Old man or something? Isn't this how old couples call each other? He followed Xiang's way. "Ha!" Xiang laughed. Everyone continued on their way to reach the land of honey and to cross the ocean, but it took a long time to reach the ocean, and it took a week for everyone to reach the seaside. Why did it take so long? It's also because of this delicate princess who said she was tired before leaving the group. Even if she was carried by the guards, she kept saying she was tired, so she stopped and walked, and it took a week. Went to the sea after getting a long day and night this week. Everyone also knew that the guard's name was Shanshan, and Xiang's relationship with the third class was getting better. Nixiang Ningji finally stopped looking at Xiang with the hostile eyes he used to. He has always regarded Xiang as his opponent. Although I still see Xiang as an opponent, I also see Xiang as a friend. After renting the boat, a few people started sailing on the sea. Xiang sat on the edge of the boat and looked at the sea with infinite emotion in his heart. The difference between this world and his own world is only culture, which does not exist. High-rise buildings, non-existent laws and regulations. After all, I'm living in a world created by others. The person who specifically created this world, seen from this world, is the immortal of the six paths, and seen from outside this world, that is Masashi Kishimoto. Miji's bag has been consumed by now, but fortunately, the land of honey is about to arrive, and her food can still hold up. Everyone has prepared food for this task. Unlike Miji, Xiang and others have prepared food. The food is easy to keep, bread and biscuits. The environment of Naruto world is very clean. You just need to fetch water directly from the lake with water. What do you think? Tian leaned on the edge of the boat and said, looking at Xiang, who was sitting on the edge of the boat. "Nothing. I want to marry someone in the future." Xiang said jokingly. "You really?" Tian was also speechless and blushing at the same time. How could she not know that Xiang was teasing her? "I haven't encountered any ninjas in the country of stuffing along the way. It seems that the country of honey has fallen. The name is probably dead." The task of comforting Miji will be handed over to you. In Xiang told Tian Tian said, "Why leave it to me? Because you are all girls. Do you expect Xiao Li or Niji to comfort her? This, I imagined it every day. Miss Miji, don't cry. Let's forget uncle and start burning new youth. This is Xiao Li. Don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, so annoying. This is Niji." Tian Tian suddenly burst into a cold sweat. The two of them would never coax people. If Mr. Kai tried to coax people, it would be similar to Xiao Li, and Mr. Lu Jiu felt troublesome. Yin Xiang said, "No, I can't let Yin Xiang go." Tian Tian shook his head. "Okay, I will comfort her then." Tian Tian nodded after thinking about it. Although Yin Xiang didn't know how rich Tian Tian's inner activities were just now, he still smiled and nodded after seeing Tian Tian agreed. "I guess Mi Ji knows it too. Her father is afraid she won't survive, but she doesn't really see it now. There is still a glimmer of hope in her heart, and when she really knows the news, she will collapse." End of this chapter. Chapter 22, Yin Xiang's Plan. Chapter 22, Yin Xiang's Plan. After 2 days of sailing, everyone finally arrived at the wharf of the Land of Honey and put the boat on the shore temporarily. It will be used when they go back, but in order to prevent the boat from being stolen, Lu Jiu also set up a boat around the boat. Enchantment. It's so fragrant. The breeze blew gently, and the aroma was also introduced into everyone's nose with the breeze. It was a very fragrant smell. This is the unique scent of the Land of Honey, because the Land of Honey is a specialty nectar, so you can see flowers and plants with peculiar fragrances everywhere. The smell of these flowers and plants is mixed in the wind, and people will feel happy after smelling them. Shan Chun said to the crowd, "Okay, the mission officially begins here. This mission has no support or supplies. The goal is to save a country." Lu Jiu turned around and explained to everyone, "Yin Xiang, although your plan is great, you missed a bit." Lu Jiu looked at Yin Xiang and said, "What is it?" Yin Xiang is also very strange. There should be nothing left out. Soldiers. Every country has no shortage of soldiers who are ordinary people. Although they are powerless in front of ninjas, they are numerous. Once we meet these ordinary people, it will be difficult for us to escape easily. Soldiers, Yin Xiang frowned, because this is the world of ninjas, so he preconceived that only ninjas were the only ones with local combat power. But he didn't expect that there were still ordinary soldiers. Actually, although I miss these soldiers, I have already thought of a good way to avoid these ordinary people completely, and can also weaken the strength of the place bit by bit. Yin Xiang's mouth turned up, with a dangerous-looking smile. "Let's find a place to settle first." Lu Jiu nodded, and definitely find a place to settle first before discussing the plan. "There is a cave here. I saw it when I went up the mountain for the exam. Come here," Shanshan said, and after everyone nodded, he led the way in front of the cave. After walking for a few hours, he arrived at the entrance of the cave. "That's great. I've been rushing for the past few days, and I'm exhausted. Now, I don't have to rush." Miji was the first to say after entering the cave and lighting the fire. "Yes, Your Highness." Shanshan also nodded, and then spread Miji's bag on the ground. She slept like this all the way. Yin Xiang and others slept on the tree and on the ground. "Anyway, make do. Yin Xiang, talk about your plan." Lu Jiu leaned down against the wall, and everyone sat down around the fire. If the country of honey has really fallen, it must be very short of money now, especially the ninja supplies, the materials generated by the war, medical expenses, comfort fees, etc. All expenses are very high. It's the same in big countries and small ones. Even though the country of stuffing has merged with the country of honey now, and there are supplies from both countries, it is still not enough. After all, both sides are consuming, so they need money. How can they make money? "Dutas," Yin Xiang said. "Like us, ninjas take missions. Do you want to release a mission in the Land of Honey, and then attract their ninjas to come here in batches?" Yin Xiang said here, and Lu Jiu also understood, and a smile appeared on his face. Yin Xiang nodded with a smile. "Like us, if we receive a mission to exterminate a bandit, we will send a team, upper and 3 lower. If the team fails, we will send someone to check. If the people who went to check disappear, there will be high-level officials dispatched to check. Let's just bring their ninjas here little by little, and then kill them, even if the worst can weaken half of their numbers." What a good plan. Kai also nodded in response. But this kind of small country, if it's just to exterminate bandits, they shouldn't send a Jounin. After all, they only have 3 Jounin and 8 Zhongren, so they can only send 1 Chunin at most. 3 Jennies, Niji said, dragging his chin. In fact, if it's the task of exterminating the bandits, 5 Jinin are usually sent to do it. If it is a special situation, in order to complete the task quickly, 2 Chunin will be sent. Shanshin listened to them. Conversation set aside. Yeah, In Xiang nodded and said he knew. Then what we have to do now is to go into the village to find out the number of ninjas in the enemy. Originally, it was the most appropriate task to give this task to Niji, but the Hinata clan rejected it. For other ninjutsu, you can't use the transformation technique, and the white eyes are too dazzling. So this time I'm going. I use the transformation technique to enter the Mihua village, try to find out the current situation, and then issue a mission. At the same time, I have to prepare some supplies for us. We may have to stay here for a while. In Xiangkan, looking at the circle of people around him, Kai's entire class was a physical exercise class, and it was not suitable for them to be given such a task. After doing the calculations, I finally had to go in by myself. If you want to enter the village, you must be careful. Although we are only a small country, there are still some perceptive ninjas. If you let them perceive your transformation, your situation will be very dangerous. Shan reminded from the side. Well, I'll find a way to get in successfully. In Xiang nodded and stood up. Are you going now? Won't you take a break? Tian looked at In Xiang as he stood up and said, No, finish the task early and go back early. I miss Yao Ramen. In Xiang stretched, yawned, and walked out of the cave. You really have a reliable apprentice, Lu Jiu. Kai said to Lu Jiu next to him. Well, In Xiang is very reliable, but there are also shortcomings. He has never suffered a loss. Lu Jiu nodded, looking at the position In Xiang left before. Haven't suffered any losses? What's not enough if you haven't suffered losses? Lu Jiu's words made Kai stunned. Lu Jiu sighed and shook his head. It's always good to take more losses when you're young. After In Xiang left the cave, he walked in the direction of Mihua village. On the way, In Xiang had already asked Shanshin about the route, and he also drew a rough sketch of Zhang Mihua village, so In Xiang also familiar with the route. In Xiang went all the way to the outside of Mihua village, which was much worse than Konoha. The gatekeepers were also 2 ninjas, but they didn't look very old, like Chunin. End of this chapter, Chapter 23, the first step of the plan. Chapter 23, the first step of the plan. Why don't we just sneak in and capture the daimyo, so that we can force them a hand over the land of honey? Shaoli said aside. Yes. Shaoli, you are so smart. Kai agreed. Lu Jiu shook his head. No way, if the daimyo is killed. The country will fall into the hands of ninjas, just like if the daimyo in the country of fire is killed. The ruler will become 3 generations, daimyo. To put it bluntly, it's just a decoration. That's it. Shaoli nodded in disappointment. Even if he is the same age as In Xiang, why can't he think of such a clever way? In Xiang is indeed a little different from his peers. He is very different from us. Niji also said, he is like a mature uncle with a face of the same age as us. The cave is still talking about In Xiang, and In Xiang has caught a villager who has just left the village. It seems that he is going to go out to pick something, but this has nothing to do with In Xiang. In Xiang directly knocked him out, and then changed in his appearance. He took his things, tied him up and hid him, and walked towards a gate. Huh? Didn't you just go out? Why did you come back so soon? The 2 ninjas at the door obviously remembered this person. After all, this person just went out not long ago. I forgot to bring something. Go back and get it. In Xiang pretended to be anxious and said, as if he was missing something important. Okay, let's see the proof of entering the village. The ninja said to In Xiang. Certificate of entering the village? In Xiang panicked in his heart, but on the surface he pretended to be looking for it in his bag. Finally, he found a piece of paper in the person's bag with the certificate of entering the village on it. His name was Jiyo Shihao. It appears to be this person. I found it. In Xiang took out the village entry certificate calmly. The 2 ninjas checked it and then registered In Xiang again and let In Xiang go in. After entering the village, Yin Xiang exhaled. I was scared to death, but fortunately, I took the burden of this person. Everyone in the village knows me, but I have never heard of the need for a proof of entry into the village before. Yin Xiang, who successfully entered the village, found another corner and turned into someone else, then walked into a wine house, ordered a pot of wine, and sat in the corner and listened. If you want to collect information, the wine house is still a good place. The Mieying village is different. Yin Xiang started talking to the two people at the next table. You better stop complaining. It's pretty good that we ordinary people can still drink wine now. Our country's ninjas are too unmotivated. Not long after the war started, some people surrendered to the enemy. They are cowards. Hey, be quiet. The man hurriedly blocked the other man's mouth and told him to stop talking. You really drank too much. Don't you know what's going on now? Don't you want to live? Sure enough, there is betrayal. Yin Xiang took a sip of wine, but it seems that the country has not changed except for the replacement of those in power, and the residents are still those residents. Okay, let's go. Really, don't get into trouble. The man who gagged pulled the man who drank too much away, and Yin Xiang followed him. Maybe he could know from this man's mouth. Less things. The man sent the drunk man home all the way, and he was going home later. When he walked to a place with few people, Yin Xiang took a stride and knocked the man unconscious, then put him around his neck and pretended to be as if he was drunk. He took him to a small corner with no one. And he just waited for him to wake up. He didn't hit hard just now, and he woke up soon after. You, who are you? Are you a ninja in the village? I'm sorry. He said those words just now. It has nothing to do with me. Lord, please forgive me of... Yin Xiang was annoyed by the shouting. It's okay. Yin Xiang pushed him to the ground. I'm not a ninja in this village. I ask you something, and you answer truthfully. Okay, I will answer truthfully, the man said quickly. How many ninjas have fallen to the enemy in this village before? There are 2 in the upper ninja and 4 in the middle ninja, but I don't know about the lower ninja, my lord. I'm telling the truth. So now there are 5 Shangnin and 12 Chunin. Yin Xiang thought to himself, where is the name of the land of honey? I was arrested and put in prison. Everyone in the village knows about it. Where's the original honey shadow? Mieying died in battle and was killed by ninjas in the country of stuffing. Now the whole country of honey is in the hands of the country of stuffing. Well done. Don't mention this to anyone, or I will definitely come back to kill you. Although Yin Xiang had never killed anyone, his look still made this person deeply fearful. Yes. Sir, don't worry, I will never say this. The man also answered quickly. After he finished saying this, Yin Xiang disappeared in front of his eyes with a blinking technique. 5 Shangnin, 12 Zongnin. If 2 Zongnin are sent to suppress the bandits. If the Zongnin disappears, what will happen? Send a Shangnin to check it out. Yin Xiang dragged his chin and walked on the road. After thinking for a while, he turned into another person and walked into the place where the task was released. I used 50,000 taels to announce the task of suppressing the bandits. It really hurts. Although Yin Xiang is not short of 50,000 taels, it is still a large amount. When I go back, I have to ask the old man from the 3rd generation to reimburse him. After releasing the mission, Yin Xiang bought a lot of supplies and then used the Flying Thunder God to return directly to the cave. Not only did he leave the Flying Thunder God mark near the cave, he also left a mark in Mihua village, so that Yin Xiang would later, it's free to go in and out. I'm back. Yin Xiang put all the things he was carrying on the ground. I haven't eaten cooked food for a long time. I bought some roast chicken and duck, but the food in the bag should be easy to preserve. That's great. My face is turning green after eating those dry food these days. Shaoli was very happy after seeing this. Not only Shaoli, but everyone was very happy. How about Yin Xiang? Did you find out? Lu Jiu asked Yin Xiang. Yin Xiang leaned against the wall. It's almost there. 2 Shangnin and 4 Chunin have joined the enemy, and the number of lower ninjas is still unknown, but I have already released the task, and there should be ninjas here at the latest tomorrow. You wrote the mission location in this cave. Yeah, Yin Xiang nodded, just waiting for them to rush over by themselves. This is only the first step of the plan. By the time they react, they have already suffered a heavy loss. Yin Xiang's mouth smiled again, and Lu Jiu followed with a smile. Yin Xiang glanced at him quietly. End of this chapter, chapter 24. The Betrayal of the Country of Honey. Chapter 24, The Rebellion of the Country of Honey. There's another piece of good news. In-seong looked at me, who was stunned for a moment. Your father's not dead. He is in prison. Just rescue him later. Really? It's great. Hearing this.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.